All right, so we live. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your brother Shakim, of course. Man, I got a special guest with us today. She is very outspoken, very intelligent. I love actually reading her posts, man. Her mind is very expansive, very thoughtful. And, she is a young conservative who has not, I would say, who has maintained her culture and maintained her ability to fight for our people. She's maintained that. And that's something that I think is very, very, very awesome. And I love highlighting individuals like this because so many times we see the rhetoric of those who don't have the best interests of our communities at heart, especially conservatives and especially black conservatives. So I want to introduce you to her. She's going to tell you a little bit about herself, and I'm going to ask her some very insightful questions. And you want to share this out? If you want to share this out on your page, I don't know if you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, she gonna share it on. She gonna share it out, and while she's doing that, I'm gonna share mine out on a couple other my pages. But yeah, so I really want everybody to tune in because these type of discussions we're gonna have to have. There's a narrative out right now, and that narrative is basically saying that because we are black and we are conservatives, that we don't have love for our communities. There's a narrative out there now that's being shaped that because we are conservative, we can't embrace our culture. There's a narrative that's out right now that's saying because we are independent thinkers that we should go back to being liberals because we support our black people that are living in a situation to where they have or we have a lot of policies that are are attacking our communities. So she's gonna come back on. She's sharing out the video on her page, and there she is. She's back. She shared that out. Okay.
How to share it on my
Okay. Well, I don't no worries. So, tell us about yourself and give us a little overview because everybody's excited. Everybody want to hear from you.
Okay, so I started out doing the like TPUSA thing, and I went to the first Black conservative event, and I was like all on board with all that, like going to the White House, meeting Candace, meeting Brandon, I met everyone, and I initially started out my page. It was to reach out to Black people, but um, a lot of those talking points that TPUSA and Blexit talk about, like I did talk about some of those things, but just over time, I started seeing it was going in like a direction that I was like, nah, I'm not cool with this. Like this is not right. And my initial, actually, like the first time I had saw a red flag was when Hotep Jesus got kicked out of the event because that was censorship, and I was just like, what? Like, why can't he come? Like, I don't understand. Like, I had watched his videos and followed him, and it made no sense to me that he couldn't come. And the police officer was telling him that Charlie was at the top of TPUSA, and my sister was with me in DC. And we looked it up, and we were like, no, he's not at the top. Like, there's other people at the top that are making decisions. And I was like, like, who's really controlling TPUSA? And where are these like talking points coming from? And I started to just notice that just a lot of things didn't make sense. Like the like you said with the black on black crime and the blacks own slaves. Like I started noticing they kept repeating this stuff over and over and not really giving any solutions. And I started noticing like this next time around when they went back to DC, one of the speakers was the gay black guy. And I was like, well, I thought that we were supposed to be like family oriented. Like I thought we were supposed to be like, like two-parent families and, strong black men. And now you have like this gay black guy as like your speaker, like your leader or whatever this time around. And I mean, not like I have a problem with gays, but that just didn't seem like it fit like what conservatives and what black conservatives are trying to like establish. We want strong families with a strong male, father, for the kids. And I didn't think that like went along with what we were supposed to be trying to portray ourselves as. And I mean, the list just kept going on and on. Like there was, it just seemed like the censorship too was just kind of strange. Like to me, like I noticed that like with Charlie Kirk, whenever they had those what do you call them, America Firsters, and they kept showing up, and he wouldn't answer the questions, and I was like, well, why not? Like answer the questions. Like we're supposed to be, having conversation. And they were kicking people out and like shutting people down, and I was like, no, this is not what I signed up for. Like this, I didn't sign up for this. And I started noticing they were doing a lot of Israel First things too, and I was just like, well, I wanted to do this for the Black community. Like I was trying to reach the Black community, and that was my goal when I started this page and when I started, speaking out, like in 2016. And so, yeah, I wasn't happy with the way it was going at all, and it didn't seem productive after a while. It didn't seem like they ever had anything positive to say about Black people, like ever. And I really think that they pushed this unity that like, oh, like we're all conservatives, we're all one, we're one race. But there's things affecting the Black community that's not, that's really specific to us. And it's like whenever I would go to like address these things like on my page, and then I would get a lot of other conservatives that were not Black, and they were like, well, I see us as all one race. And I'm like, well, but there are things affecting us that aren't really affecting you as strong. And I want to focus on that. And I don't, if the people who put the abortion clinics in our neighborhood saw us as someone to target, and then obviously we need to address this. And so none of these things are being addressed, and we're being called like, criminals, and we're being called, they act like every home is fatherless. It's just never anything good to say. And that's not true. It's just not. Like, yeah, there is like a lot of bad things going on in our community, but we need to address why it's happening. It's not just that we're just dysfunctional, we can't get ourselves together. Like we've been targeted, and it's real. And so, yeah, I wanted to address that stuff more. And so it sucks that when I first started out, that I was more in that TPUSA direction, but not anymore. Now I'm not down with that.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So recently we've been having a lot of issues. First, we had this year basically that we kind of harped on. We had the Ahmaud Arbery case. We saw, Brandon and Candace Owens come out, and they talked about, they brought up talking points about, Black on Black crime, and they started talking about abortions, everything it seemed other than the violation of young man's constitutional rights by some rogue former police officers, a former police officer and his son. Then you saw the Breonna Taylor incident. You had Brandon Tatum, instead of, focusing on the constitutional violation that occurred, with the no-knock raid and, other things like that, they went on and talking about how she was dating a drug suspect and all kind of other stuff. And then now you have the situation with George Floyd, and instead of focusing on constitutional violation that occurred with the citizen and the police, Candace starts bringing up this. I mean, nobody ever said he was a martyr. She started talking about how we praised him as a martyr and a hero, which I don't even know where that talking point came from. But what from being around these type of individuals, having a bond and a relationship with Blexit and Turning Point USA, how did you feel when you started hearing them like take on these negative narratives instead of addressing the issue at hand?
Well, I kind of started thinking that it was, I don't know, like I don't think this is too much of a conspiracy, but I kind of think that there's people above them, or people that, they need to maybe please, that might not like to hear anything different than just the Black on Black crime or just the criminal behavior of these people. Wow. And I noticed that they do it all the time, actually. Like I had actually started noticing it like a couple years ago, that they both, anytime there was like an incident with the Black and white person, it was always the Black person's fault, or at least always the person who they decided to point out their flaws. It was never the white person, like ever with them, like ever. Even it didn't matter the situation. And so I just noticed that this was a pattern for them. And I think, yeah, that they're trying to please their base, but I also think that, whoever they're working for is not going to let them say anything else about Black people. And I think this is just a narrative that they prefer them to talk about. And I feel like I noticed this on my own page. Like when I started trying to talk about positive things about Black people, or say like, well, there is the prison industrial complex, like it's not just that we are all getting thrown in jail and separated from the kids. There's actually like, a system that put us in prison. And it's like they never address that. And I think that whoever they're working for don't want them to address it. They want it to always just be Blacks are criminals, Blacks are, whatever.
So in your mind, what do you think are some of the solutions? Because of course they have huge followings, right? And we know that a lot of their following, we don't want to be misled, because a lot of their following are not Black people.
Yeah.
So what can we do to address Black people and make them? Because right now, if you go to a Black person and you say, hey, and you start talking about conservatism, the first thing they're going to think about, oh, hell no, y'all over there with Candace and Black, all that, man. Don't talk to me. And you got these racists over here. That's the first thing that's gonna come to their mind. When you're talking to somebody about being a Black conservative, how do you articulate it, and how do you get around that already negative stereotype that you're a coon, a sellout, and you're a talking point for a racist?
Well, what I've been doing, and I actually did this, I had made an anonymous page on Instagram, and I talked about all the same stuff that like I talk about now, but I didn't mention that I was like, that I voted for Trump, and I didn't mention like really Republican, Democrat. Like I just mentioned the things in our community that, like I mentioned the abortion clinics, I mentioned that we need, gun rights, and I mentioned I think that we should homeschool too, because I think a lot of the problems that we have are because the public school systems in our neighborhoods are awful. But and so I mentioned all this, and I actually had a lot of support from Black people. They didn't know that I was that I had voted for Trump. And I really think that some of these things can be, I guess, triggering, as they would call it. Like if you mention Trump, it's kind of triggering. And so like you can tell them about the abortion thing without mentioning Candace and without mentioning Brandon Tatum, without mentioning Trump. Just, tell them, inform them about like what is happening to us in our community because I mean, we can't do anything about, like when they hear Trump, they don't like it. They get mad. When they hear Candace, they get mad, And so, I mean, there's no reason actually to even bring that up. Like we can talk about these things without bringing it up.
Right. You see that question? You want to answer that? It says TPUSA is the bottom of the barrel for intellectual conservative arguments. Kudos for digging deeper. Conservatives and libertarians are leaders on criminal justice reform, like ending qualified immunity, no-knock raids, and the drug war. Question: Did you see? Did you watch today that roundtable that they had in Dallas, Texas, with Trump and a lot of the leaders on reform? Did you watch that?
No, I saw you made a post about it. What happened? What they say?
Okay, so I hold on. Did my camera go out? Okay, so okay, I'm back. So I was very disappointed today. I think what is happening is that intellectually we're losing a lot of our steam, because instead of getting in there and having these viable conversations about prison reform, social justice reform, and things that we can do, it turns into a I love Trump, parade. It turns into a Trump rally.
Yeah.
So what happened today was essentially that. What was supposed to be a meeting that was set up to address a lot of the social ills, a lot of the disconnect between law enforcement and citizens, it turned into a Trump rally. So what they did, the Black leaders, they, started up, well, Trump, you're just such an awesome individual, and we love this, and we love that, and we love this. And it never got down to any of the hardcore issues that are being talked about in the community, because they turned it into a Trump rally.
Yeah.
And I think, they turned it into a Trump rally. So what happens even more is psychologically the Black people who watch this, who are independent and who maybe want to vote for Trump because they don't like Biden, it turns them off because what they're seeing is something that lacks intellectual substance, and it just turns into a Trump rally. So, that was very disappointing. Did you watch some of the clips with Sunny the other day and her sit down with Trump?
No, I didn't. I missed that too.
Yeah, but that was good too. However, the same thing applied. She was the only one that actually brought forth a statement of concern with the black community, and she let them know, hey, Trump, it's not all good. I mean, all of these guys just sat here and said, oh, you're doing such a great job, and the black community, this and that. The little Trump rally that was going on, Sonny intervened and said, you know what? This is not correct. So, what do you feel? How do you feel about blacks, the black conservatives who are acting as, I would say, buffers between the black community and the president?
Oh, I think they've become very unproductive at this point. To me, it seems like they're more in it for fame, because you're not going to get very famous and mainstream if you're starting to say the things that you're saying or saying things that I'm saying. Like, I lost all types of Facebook friends from saying things about Candace. It was like the line in the sand, it was like, oh, well, you don't like her, well, I'm done with you, and I was just like, okay. And I think that I think it's more, I don't think you can really, I mean, Sunny, she talks about stuff that we talk about, but I really don't think you can get that many followers and you can make a lot of money talking more, being like more pro black. I just don't. And I mean, you have to sacrifice that if you want to actually help the black community, if that's what your goal was, which is what mine was. And I'll sacrifice friends, so I can, actually reach out to the black community.
Right. So let me ask you this. So, with the demographics of our country actually changing, you're beginning to see the minority population grow, whether it's Black, Hispanic, Latino, or just everything. The population of minorities are expanding. However, the GOP with its demographic has not yet expanded. Do you believe that there's going to be a time in the near future where the GOP is going to have to start changing the discussion from the usual deflection to, okay, let's sit down and have this conversation and see how we're going to work it out? Do you think there's going to be a day to where the rubber's going to meet the road in the GOP?
I don't know. I think maybe, but I don't know if there will be, but there needs to be. That's for sure. They have the same talking points as the left, except from a conservative point of view. It's just talking points that don't get anywhere. And I think they need to address these issues, that the things that are like bothering black people, because I feel like if we're bothered as black conservatives, how in the world are you going to get black liberals to vote Republican? Like, they're already mad, and so they're not going to want to vote Republican if, as soon as you say something about systemic racism, which they know they've experienced, and you say, no, like, that doesn't exist, that doesn't happen, like, well, I mean, we're seeing it happen. So no, they're not going to want to vote Republican or be conservative ever, as long as they don't change. I don't know if they will, though. Maybe with all the stuff that's going on, but they need to, because I'm even getting irritated. I just can't deal with these talking points. And I've actually been conservative my whole life. I've never voted Democrat. And it's just not because I'm like a huge fan of George Bush or Republicans, but I just don't. What the Democrats are doing is just worse for us. And so I'm going to be conservative no matter what. But if they're going to get other people on the side, nah, like, they're not going to do it this way, not at all. They need to, yeah.
Right. So let's talk about Trump. Has your perspective of Trump actually changed? And me, see, I like the way how he handled the economy. Like, I personally did. I liked the economic message, and I even like I like how he still stayed course and saying, let's not forget about the economy during COVID-19. I respect that and I like that, because a lot of people were losing, and we know that the government could not sustain people's livelihood. So we had to have a plan to reopen. I definitely appreciated that. Now we're moving into a time where social justice is now the sounding of the alarm. How do you think he's handling this situation, and has your perspective of him changed?
Now, I mean, I don't think he's doing a good job handling it. Not at all. And not, yeah, I don't. I'm not surprised though, because since he is the Republican, he's probably going to upset a lot of people if he were to attack the issue, and especially if he were to acknowledge some of the things that like we've been saying about the system, how it works against us as Black people. And so I don't think he's done a good job acknowledging this at all. And I think that, you know, one thing he keeps saying is like Black unemployment is the lowest it's ever been. But like that's nice, but there's other issues going on in the Black community, and this would be the time to talk about it. And I mean, he's been pretty silent on it. Just yeah, not really saying anything. His base
Right.
would be upset though. I mean, I just know how people got how they turned on me for, you know, talking about these things. White conservatives, but Black conservatives were really supportive. There's a group that wasn't, you know, but a lot of Black conservatives are like, we want to hear something different. We want to see something different. Like we want to actually see more change in our community. But I was getting a lot of hate from white conservatives for saying that, and just you know, bringing up the whole issue of systemic racism. It's just, I don't know. And then I also keep, oh, go ahead.
No, 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 no. I'm
Uh,
listening. No, go ahead.
okay.
I'm listening.
Yeah, and I also like I noticed that when I'll bring up some of these issues, that I'll get a lot of comments in the section like from white conservatives that are really just nasty. And I think it's odd because they were always like during 2016, everyone's like, oh MAGA, like we're not racist, like the left is racist, you know? And I'm not saying like all white conservatives are racist, but like if you come on my page and then you send me a pictures of like whenever the people were looting and stuff, and you just keep saying like, oh, the black people are looting, and send me pictures of like monkeys, you know, like, which you're like, what? Like you really think you're gonna get people like on our side like for doing stuff like that, and a lot of times it would be things that like it didn't even make sense for them to post that on my page. Like it would be something about like the not necessarily about the protest, but kind of along the lines of the protest, not mentioning looting or anything. But then I would just get swarmed with people saying, "Oh, black people destroying their own communities. If Black lives really mattered, and then you would stop killing your babies. If Black lives really mattered, and then you would have fathers in your home." And I'm like, what kind of argument is this? This is not a real argument, and it that doesn't sound genuine. It doesn't sound like you care about Black people or you care about the cause. It sounds like you just want to attack Black people and remind me, look how dysfunctional you are. Like you can't like you're looting your own neighborhoods. You don't even care about Black lives. And I'm like, I know so many Black people who do care about their neighborhood. And just because it doesn't hit the media doesn't mean it's not happening. And they're not going to post that. They're going to post looting. They're going to post riots. They're not going to post people like you and people like me who've been doing this. I've been doing this for years, saying like, come on, Black people, like we can do this, you know, like I'm rooting for the Black community. And I even have Black liberal relatives that do outreach in their communities, and they're just like, oh, Black liberals are stupid. Black liberals, they're so dumb for voting Democrat. And I'm just like, well, I mean, they they look at how you're talking, like but that doesn't mean they're not going out in the community, you know?
Right. I read a tweet and I was kind of disappointed, but I mean not really, because I kind of expected, from Brandon Stryker, who's from the Walkaway movement in the Republican Party. And one of his tweets, he basically said that he sees all these blacks burning down buildings and looting and rioting, and he's seeing white people kiss their feet. And he said, basically, you know, how does white privilege exist, or so much for white privilege when, you know, black people are looting and white people are kissing their feet? Like,
Yeah.
this speaks to, yeah, this speaks to a lot of what you're saying, as far as how, you know, the narrative was playing out, that it was black people doing all of the looting. It was black, especially the first couple of days. I mean, the only reason why the narrative had to at least change a little was because video footage, and we kept catching white people looting and setting things on fire and breaking into place. So finally, they had to accept the reality that white people were doing it. And then from there, the narrative was like, well, it's not us, it's Antifa. You
Yeah.
know, and it was like, these aren't regular white people. These are Antifa. They don't know these white people from nowhere. They could be regular white people in the neighborhood. I know the white people around here locally who were breaking into stuff. They weren't Antifa. They were just regular white people in the community who just who saw opportunity to go loot.
Yeah.
And they went in there and took the opportunity to loot. It wasn't anything political. So, with that talking point, it finally started crumbling and crashing. And so my next point to you is, like, where do our voices go from here? Like voices like yours, where does it go from here? How can we like create, or how can we show black people that black conservatives love their community and they want to do better for their community? Like where does it go from here?
I think hi.
What's that? Yeah, he kind of just threw me in there.
Yeah. Well, go ahead. We listening to you. We listening to you, sis. Go ahead.
I think that we just got to keep doing what we're doing. I mean, we're not a lot of us. We're small, but we have smaller platforms than the bigger, more famous ones. But I think we just have to keep doing it, and I think it's going to grow because it's already seems to be growing to me. Like, I've seen so many black people, black conservatives that I was at TPUSA with at the first Black leadership event, and they will come on my page backing me up. And these are the same people who was like, we were taking pictures with Candace, like we were taking pictures with Brandon, and they're backing me up, and I see them on other people's pages, and I think it's growing. I think we just have to keep doing what we're doing, keep doing live streams, talking with each other, making videos. I've been making videos on my YouTube channel that aren't as like negative towards black people, and trying to get to like the root of the problem. And I mean, if a lot of white conservatives don't like it, it's fine.
So, what was that? Listen, let me. I'm picking up dinner right now, and I didn't expect Keem, but I got a question. So I know y'all debunking the myths about black conservatives, right? Is what we're pretty much doing. Do I have this right? I just want to make sure. Thank you. I just want to make sure my questions will be in line with the discussion tonight. So, like,
go ahead.
So I'm asking. I need you to answer.
Yeah.
Like,
she touched on that.
Okay, so I guess I need to know.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last thing you said.
So you're I guess you're debunking all the myths and clearing up about black conservatives is what we're doing. And I need to let you know I'm a Democrat, so okay. I'm just asking from my point of view. So where and I think I can say it from where most Democrats see, and me and Shakim have this conversation all the time. So I know Shakim, he supports Trump. I'm assuming you do as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where it is confusing.
Well, let me clarify this. Clarify this. I support good policy. I support policy. There's a lot of things that I disagree with Trump on. I really do. And I believe that if there was a better alternative, I would vote for the better alternative in a heartbeat. At this point, I don't feel that Joe Biden is the better alternative. I don't. I really don't. If there was somebody, even like a Tulsi Gabbard, I sat down and I listened to Tulsi. She has a lot of good conservative views. Her stance on marijuana, I loved it. Her prison reform stance, I loved it. Her foreign policy, I loved a lot of things that Tulsi Gabbard. So if Trump is not the best that the Republican Party has ever had to offer. And I think, to be honest, I think that there are a lot of people who feel that same way as me, diehard Republicans. If you notice, if you look, you saw Colin Powell just came out recently and said, hey, I'm voting for Biden, which I wouldn't vote for Biden, but he said he's voting for. Colin Powell is a very well-respected general, black a black general. A lot of people love him. You saw
Yeah.
the younger George Bush. He said for a while, he said, "Hey, I don't support this foolishness Trump is doing." You saw John McCain. He stood up and said, "Hey, I don't agree with this." You see Mitt Romney. He said, "Yo, I'm not backing this foolishness he's doing." You know, and you saw a couple of other generals and high-ranking GOP members come out and they're saying, "Yo, listen, yes, we're Republican, but the divisive language, the rhetoric that you're using, especially right now in this political climate, is unnecessary." So,
All right, so let me jump on that. Let me jump on that then. So I guess what you just said, right? How can you still support him with the things that he is saying? You know, the latest one. First of all, I don't know who he has in cabinet that advises him. Someone needs to start giving him better advice. You know, with all the racial turmoil going right now, you pick your campaign. You pick the June 19th, Juneteenth, right? You comment about the white guy who get pushed down by the police. You say that he was staged. It's probably an actor. You know, you say when it comes to George Floyd that we don't know the whole story. You know, this is where Candace and them, they're repeating the rhetoric that he is doing. So I guess to me, as a black, and I know you, Shakeem. So Shakeem, you're an awesome dude. So I would never judge you on, you saying, "Oh, I'm supporting Trump," because you do tremendous work in the community, and that's what, like I said, that's what gained my respect for you, is by what you do. You know what I mean? Because I too am a Democrat, but I didn't pick for Biden. I just don't have nobody else. I would have loved to see Tom or Barry or Bernie or somebody else get there, because I didn't forget about Biden and his 94 crime bill. I didn't forget that. But what I guess what I'm saying is, I don't understand how with Trump, like Trump does little things all the time to excite his fan base and remind us that he's a racist. Like, how do y'all justify that and blow it off? Like when he goes out here to say, for example, today, when he goes out here and the pastor came in a meeting with him and said, "Hey, the black society and the black conservatives don't agree with the stuff Candace is saying." And then what does he do? He retweets exactly what they just told him, that they didn't like what Candace was saying. Like, it's things like that that we notice. So it's a big slap you in the face. You know what I mean? It's a big F you in the face. It's like, I guess it's hard for us to determine, because the Republicans who are big Republican supporters, they make it known as they're racist. It's hard for us to understand, why do blacks support Trump? You know, what is it? What policy has he given us that makes you say, well, you know what? I think I should give him another 4 years. Like, what has he done? I mean, I haven't seen what Trump has done for me to say, well, yeah, I'm gonna give you the nod over Biden.
All right, so this is the thing. Go ahead. No, you can answer. Go ahead. Answer.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I was saying earlier before you got on that I was conservative before Trump. I've been conservative all my life. I wouldn't necessarily say Republican, but conservative. But I was conservative for just because my values. I believe in a family, like a 2-parent family. Like, I'm not down with the transgender thing. The gay marriage. I'm pro gun. I'm pro free speech, not censoring. I'm for against abortion. So I've always been supportive of those things. And like when Trump gets in, like before he got in office, I was for those things. When he gets out of office, I'll still be for those things. And I just think that I couldn't, just because he has a rhetoric that a lot of people don't like that doesn't make it okay for me to support abortion now. It doesn't make it okay for them to be able to take away the guns. It doesn't make censorship okay. I think we have to kind of deal with the hand we're dealt when it comes to the people who they give us to vote for. But there's no way that I would ever support anyone who was for abortion or for gay marriage or for the transgender thing. None of that stuff.
So let me ask you a question then. So and that goes back to what you just mentioned, constitutional right. I am not for abortion, but nor am I against it. Because, hey, guess what? This is your right, your body. Hell, for instance, if a woman is raped, if a woman is, whatever she had in her mind, and she thinks she's not ready to be a mother, then that's her right. Like, I'm not going to ever condemn anybody for that right too. I don't understand why. Like we scream that we don't want government involved in controlling, but we willingly give government all the control over us, like abortion and censorship. I've never heard Joe Biden said about censorship, but Trump is the one screaming that he wants to shut down social media. He wants to control what's being done on social media. Biden's not saying that. That's Trump.
Well, in all honesty,
so,
let me say it like this: Trump actually made a good point about social media, and this is he never did say. Hold on, he never did say he wanted to censor social media. He said he was against social media censoring the people because Twitter was blocking his account for the stuff that he was saying. So all of us have gotten mad at Facebook for saying that they're censoring us. So you got to go back and take a look at what actually happened. Trump was never saying he wanted Twitter and social media to censor us. He was saying that they had too much censorship over us. And another thing that you said about the Juneteenth situation. Listen, Juneteenth, the Democrats, and I want somebody to prove me wrong. The Democrats are using Juneteenth as a political ploy against Trump to call him a racist. We've been celebrating Juneteenth for decades, bro. I mean, forever. We've been celebrating Juneteenth, and none of these people now that are screaming Juneteenth has ever given a damn about Juneteenth. Now, all of a sudden, Trump is having a rally on Juneteenth, and now they're acting like it's the Sabbath. Now they're acting like
you don't think that's strategy plan? You don't think he planned that strategically?
Listen,
you don't think that's his shot?
Listen, how would it be a shot? And even the black people who talk, half of the people on my timeline from Charleston have never attended. We've been having Juneteenth programs. We've been having Juneteenth programs forever. None of these people that are outraged right now, let me finish. None of these people right now have ever been outraged about Juneteenth ever. They don't attend a program. They don't attend nothing. And now all of a sudden, what makes you care about Juneteenth is a Trump rally. And to show you how disconnected they are from history, they're taking Tulsa, Oklahoma, that has nothing to do with Juneteenth. These dates are totally irrelevant. They're taking something that happened in the 1900s, the middle 1900s, and taking it and conflating it with Juneteenth. These are two totally different, separate events, but they can do that because we don't know.
Think about it like this, though, brother.
Doing that because we don't know our history as black people. So what we do is we take what the mainstream media tells us, and they're using it just to get at Trump. That's all they're doing. So they don't care. They don't care.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen is, even if it's Juneteenth and that's a celebration day that blacks have celebrated. Not all. You're right. Not all blacks, but
black?
It is a well-known black celebrated holiday.
No,
black people. Black people celebrate.
When? No, we don't. We don't celebrate Juneteenth. Barely.
Shakim, okay, so like I said, I remember last year you went to a beach. I think you went to a beach last year, right? Didn't you go to a beach last year for Juneteenth? I went somewhere and you went somewhere different. We didn't go to the same place, but I remember we spoke. You were going somewhere for Juneteenth. I went somewhere different.
And tell me how many people spoke. Tell me how many people showed up.
Again, listen, follow me here. Follow me. The difference is this. You're going to have, and y'all can defend him, you're going to have a racist president with his racist body out on a holiday that we're trying to get recognized for us. So Elvin, that's the problem. That's what's causing the turmoil.
No, sir.
Wait, where did you hear about this? Where did you hear about him having a rally on Juneteenth?
It's announced. He announced
where?
It. It's all over.
Where?
Like Fox News. He announced it.
Wait. So did you see it on Fox News or CNN or something?
I saw it.
Don't. I feel like a lot of times when they put stuff like that on the news, it's to get you riled up. And I don't watch CNN. I don't have cable. I don't watch none of those. And so a lot of times when I see people get riled up, it's because of something they saw on there. Do you think it's a possibility that the news is making this into something in order to get the Black community riled up?
So all the news said is that Trump picked this date to come back and have his first rally. Let me ask you a question. Put like this, right? Plus me. Let's just use me for example. I'm a Black man, and let's use a holiday. Let's say a Jewish holiday, and the Jewish community was offended by me coming out on their day and doing something. How easy would it have been for him just to switch the date? It's just that simple. What is he trying to prove by saying, guess what? I'm gonna have it there regardless, even though I'm catching backlash. Let's not forget. We just buried a Black man 2 months ago, a week ago, from a racist ass cop. That this same racist ass president was saying that we don't know the whole story.
No. He's never said that about George Floyd. He's denounced George Floyd from the beginning. I hate the way how he's handling it, but with George Floyd, he's never said we need to wait to see everything. He hasn't. But I'm gonna tell you like this, and I want to ask you this question: when has the mainstream media ever publicized or talked about Juneteenth?
No,
they never have.
Never.
No,
they never have. But they don't. So that's. Oh, he left.
Oh, he gone.
Hey, I never seen him leave his show. So anyway, but no. So no. Just to address what he was saying, Juneteenth is not a national. But how many Black holidays do we have that is national? You know what I mean? Even Martin Luther King birthday, yeah, it's nationally known, but people still work on it. You know what I mean? It's not a holiday where, kids still go to school. It's not nationally known like that where they shutting down everything. You know what I mean? It's not like Independence Day.
Do they shut down stuff for Juneteenth?
No,
not at all. But my whole point, Shakeem, is they don't shut down. How many Black holidays do they shut down for us?
Okay.
There's none.
Okay. So check this out. Let me say this. We have been fighting for years to have Juneteenth recognized. People have never ever. We've been doing Juneteenth programs as long as I can imagine. The masses of people have never cared about it. They have not participated. We are every year, and a bunch of people on my timeline know that every year we throw something for Juneteenth. We don't have a mass outpouring of people saying we want to get behind it. All of a sudden, Juneteenth gets so much recognition because white liberals want to make, and I mean, it's not hard to make him out as one, but white liberals are using that to make Trump, to push that narrative. Oh yeah, Trump is racist. He's doing this on Juneteenth. Half of the white liberals and I checked a couple of them on my page. I checked a bunch of them, especially the ones locally, because I have never seen them post anything about Juneteenth. I've never seen them give no. They didn't support us. None of that. The people who actually go hard for Juneteenth, we have always been few and far between, and we have been drowned out by people who said, well, we're celebrating the 4th of July. We're celebrating the 4th of July, which is cool. That's what you want to do. All I'm saying is that it's kind of odd that the white liberal media is now so concerned about Juneteenth, and they have never, ever, ever been concerned. And the only time they've been concerned is to make Trump to say, hey, Trump is a racist because he's having something on Juneteenth. Look how many of them have something on Juneteenth.
So if he was so understanding and such a caring president, how hard would it have been to say, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna have on the 20th. Problem solved.
You know what? He could have, but he didn't.
That's what I'm saying. So again, but Trump does it to himself, and that's what I'm trying to say. If you're saying Trump's not a racist, if Trump's not a racist, he do a damn good job making himself look like it. And how the brother said, if he's not a racist, he damn sure got the racists convinced he's a racist, don't he? Because they sure support him.
Well, so this is the thing. I'm the first to say that he's being pulled in both directions. He's being pulled in both directions. And my whole thing is, even if we sit back and you tell people, okay, Trump is a racist, Still, you have on the other end, on the Democratic side of it, somebody who has more racist policies in 40 years and has been a known advocate of systemic racial injustices for so long. Where do our people turn? That's my whole thing. My whole thing is we can sit down and pontificate about how Trump is a racist, and then you have the alternative, and you say, well, damn, shit, Joe Biden been pulling off racist stunts for the last 40 years. So that's my whole thing. Where do we go? I know you disagree with Biden on a lot of stuff. I disagree with Trump on a lot of stuff. The sister, American Curl, she disagrees on a lot of stuff. So my point is, where do we? Because to be honest, even if you're a Democrat, I say I'm conservative, she's a conservative, we still have a lot in common. And we still actually have more in common than not in common. So what do we do to bring the conversation and say, hey, how can we work together for the betterment of our communities?
So I get it. And that's like what we're doing. That's what we do out here now. That's what we do. My point is this with Trump. And again, how hard would it have been? Like the sister said, he could have, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why does he continue?
So this is the thing. How hard would it have been for Obama to make it a national holiday? He could have made it a federal holiday.
No, think about it. That's still got. He could say it, but that's still got to go through what?
He declared a national holiday. He didn't even try. He didn't try.
Hey, but he helped the gays to get married, though, so he did something.
Okay.
I get it.
Okay.
I get it. Hey, listen.
But you know what, though? Hey. Elvin, I think the media, this is what the media wanted. The media wants it so that we're sitting up here debating over what day the president chose to have his rally instead of actually talking about issues in the Black community. Because I know you do agree with us on things about, strong Black family. I know you agree on those kinds of things.
Yeah, so, definitely.
Yeah, we could totally be talking about those things, but because of the media, because even in my family's from Chicago, the South Side. So, they get, bent out of shape, because of things they see on the news. And we have, I don't want to say animosity, but we definitely disagree strongly on things because I'm conservative and they're Republican. But I know that we all want strong Black families, and I know we want our community to grow, and I know we all want that. But yet they're upset at me for being a Trump supporter, and I'm like, no, I want the same thing as you. But I think the media is why we're like at odds, and we're wasting time with whether what Trump said when he said this, when he said that, But we actually are on the same page with a lot of stuff, like he was saying, like Shakim was saying.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Do you agree though that the media is probably more of the issue when it comes to this?
Oh my God, the media is a lot. Same reason why, and this is gonna make a lot of your viewers mad. And I'm gonna say this and get off and just catch the comments. But the same reason why we got this coronavirus scare, this pandemic going on right now. It's the media. I love how they do it. I told you I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna jump off because I know your comments about to blow up now. Because it's how we got this virus. I was reading the stats today on New York because they love talking about New York and the coronavirus, and I was just reading and I was like, man, it's like 25,000 people affected, but they don't tell you that 10,000 recovered. They don't tell you that part. They just tell you 25,000 people affected, and they talk about the mortality rate, but they never come back and be like, oh, there's 15 million people in New York. Like they leave those parts off. Or they put the stats up. I love how they do it. 2 million people infected in the United States. They don't never follow it up out of 330 million people. And, they don't never talk about that. They don't never talk about the 1% infection rate, all that. So the media does a great job. And I thought it was great. I told on my page, and I told Shakim this. So right now, it was George Floyd. With George Floyd is buried. He's in the ground. So, it's back to this. It's back to this, and what we need to be paying attention to, like always, like I learned, is watching for the hook. For these vaccines, they're pushing for these vaccines. I saw it was really cute when Bill Gates and his association said that doctors should get the first dose, right? Who gets the second? The Blacks. The Blacks. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that so amazing? Why do black people have to be the first person? Other because technically you saying the doctors and the media, healthcare workers, that's not a people, that's a profession. So when you talk about people, you're saying the first people that need to be injected with this vaccine is the black people.
Who
Why?
said that? I didn't see that.
No, I have to share with you. That's it was I got the link.
I know they were trying it in Africa, so I mean I know they were trying.
Oh no, they was talking about it. They definitely say it.
Yeah, that's true, and I think that I noticed a lot of that started when the media started saying that black people were more affected by the coronavirus. They said we were dying at like alarming rates, and I actually posted some of the numbers on my page, and they were playing with numbers like they usually do, and they made it seem like we were like dropping like flies, but when you did the numbers,
oh my god,
yeah, it was just like a few hundred here, a few hundred there, and that was it. But like you would think that you couldn't get near a black person because based off of how they were playing it up.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, the black community is being affected, and it's always like that. But and again, that's always the agenda. It's always that. It goes from coronavirus to where everybody was getting sick. First it was the elderly were getting sick, that those with pre-existing conditions, and all of a sudden it became a black killer. Wow, imagine that. Yeah. Imagine that. And now, when they want to give out the vaccine, now it's, we need to start with the profession. So I like how they do again. The profession is healthcare workers and doctors. That's the profession. But when they talk about the people and a nation of who you're talking about, then you want to start with the African American communities. Why do we have to go first? Show me the rate. Go ahead.
A lot of people are debunking that because I've never seen that. CJ said no credible person in elected office said the first ones to have the vaccine is going to be black people. He put the laughing face. So a lot of people on here.
Listen. I didn't say. I'm telling you right now, and I'm gonna post it. I'll post the link on here. I didn't say that an elected official said that. What I said is when Bill Gates suggested. I didn't say an elected official.
They were trying to do it they were trying to do it in Africa. Like I don't know about here, but I know they were trying to do it in Africa.
Exactly. I didn't say so make sure I didn't tell nobody, no elected official, no politician, Trump, nobody didn't say that. When Bill Gates was asked on who should get the vaccine first, Bill Gates said the doctors and healthcare workers should go first. But then after the doctors and healthcare workers, he said the African American community. We were suggested. So
let me see that. I want to see what Bill said. I need to check that out. Yeah. Send me that. But I want to say this, especially from a lot of dealing with what a lot of black conservatives are dealing with. We're dealing with a situation to where I believe it's a renaissance, and I believe you're starting to see more blacks become fed up with the language, with the deflection, with a lot of the reactionaryism. And I just made that word up. But it's a lot of reactionaryism because if you notice all the time where blacks, where we've been in the streets asking about prison reform and talking about it, that was the perfect opportunity for someone in the GOP to say, you know what, let's create legislation. That was an opportunity. However, they slept on it, and then they let the Democrats come out with something first. And now, since the Democrats came up with something first, now it forced their hand to do something. That wasn't a victory. And I think, and I'm going to be honest, a lot of people don't like Tim Scott. And Sonny, people have been asking about Sonny all day, and Sonny done came on. But a lot of people have been talking about Tim Scott. Tim Scott right now has been standing firm. And I'm going to tell y'all like this. A lot of Democrats and a lot of my friends in the Democratic Party and liberals, they are talking trash about Tim Scott. But I'm going to tell you this. Tim Scott is catching heat. And he's standing alone, and it takes heart to stand alone with a bunch. With a bunch of right wing. A lot of them are racist. It takes a lot as a black man to stand up and say, you know what? I'm gonna fight this, I don't care if you with me or you not. It's not like he's pandering because it ain't election time. Tim Scott don't have nothing to worry about on that end, but he's standing up and he's saying, listen, I don't care if you don't support me. He said, I'm tired of y'all. I'm tired of y'all trying to slander me in my mentions, my name. He said, I don't care about it. He says, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do what's right. And I applaud Tim for saying that because he did something that a lot of black Republicans are not doing. This is Corey. Corey says something. Hold on. So, he said, let me ask you. Hold on. Let me get this question. Let me ask you a question. What is? I thought I missed it. It was further up. It was a question. Hold on. He said, how y'all going to vote for someone who would fire on peaceful protesters to take a picture? That's foolish. And that was foolish. I don't agree with him doing that. But see, I think what Corey is
still going to vote for.
Right. And see, this is what I'm telling you our major issue and our major problem is. The Democratic Party has not offered a better alternative. See, and that's where
you don't think Biden's better than Trump?
Hell no. Trump is
no.
Hell no. What I'm saying,
listen, let me guess what. I tell you what, and guess what again. And I didn't pick Biden in the primary.
You heard what Biden said today?
What did he say?
You heard Biden said. Biden said I was going to post a clip. He said that Trump is going down to Texas for Juneteenth during Juneteenth to do a rally. He's not even going to Texas. He's going to Oklahoma. So Biden, and I'm gonna post the link, but I just shook my head. But the thing is,
I get that. Yeah, so he was wrong. But guess what?
My thing is this.
Biden,
let me finish. And let me say this. I'm gonna say this. I think what we're gonna have to start doing is finding other ways to make our unified voices effective. Because no matter who we end up comparing their record, it's not going to be good. So what we're doing is we're basically comparing evil against evil to see who's the lesser of the two evils. And I think that's where we always get caught up in this conundrum of this maze or this rigmarole of just going around in circles, around and around and around in circles. I think the conversation is going to have to start centering around like what Charlemagne did. Who can push the best policies that are going to help our community? Because whether it's Trump or whether it's Biden, we should still be able somehow to effectuate a change in legislation that will allow our communities to benefit. I think that should become more of the conversation versus, well, I don't see how Elvin's voting for Biden. Elvin don't see how I'm voting for Trump, because both of them have so much dirty baggage. We're just seeing who got the most dirty laundry. And I think that is where we find ourselves not progressing, is because that conversation always stays static like that, versus let's talk about legislation and let's talk about how we can create legislation that's going to be in our favor and have it introduced in the Congress, have it pushed through. And I think that's it. I think Elvin's froze up, and Elvin. No, you're not froze. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm frozen. Yeah,
your picture's frozen, but I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Hold on. I was trying.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. Let me come back. So,
Okay,
So I was trying to find a link. I'll get the link because I want to post it in the comments that I was reading on and on. But so that's what froze me up. But yeah, man, listen. So King, like I said, this is the only thing we really agree on, and it doesn't. I'm never going to judge you or the sister for who you vote for, because that's not. You know what I'm saying? Hell, me voting for Biden don't mean that I support his bill. That's just who I thought was the better of the two. Mm-hmm. But I still, am mad at 94 crime bill. I didn't forget that. My guy didn't win. I didn't vote for Biden in the primaries. I voted for Tom, and once Tom dropped out and I realized I didn't have Tom, I was going for Bernie. And that just didn't work.
on you for you to take.
So you know, where I'm at now, I think with Trump, one thing with me that with Trump that drives me crazy is his ego. Because if I was President Trump, and you're going to use something so simple against me as I'm having it on a June 19th after everything that's just went on in this country, I just would have switched the date. How like he can kill the whole conversation by just simply saying, "Hey, you know what? My bad. I didn't realize what that day was. I'm gonna do it."
No, he wouldn't have been able to kill the conversation. He wouldn't have been able to, because the media will always find something. If it's not that, it's gonna be something else.
To be honest, I'm gonna tell you like this: any black person that's worried about Trump having a rally on Juneteenth, that means your focus is wrong anyway. Like we should not seek approval from Trump. That's so Juneteenth. What that got to do with Trump? And why is it that white people have to be the standard bearer of morality in this country? I don't care if Trump celebrates Juneteenth or not. That's not Trump. Okay.
Hold on. I want to address this. You got somewhere in the comments Republican appraisal, and they ask what is so peaceful about protesters burning. I want to address that. I want to get on that comment. We're just talking about President Trump. Starting up about protest and stuff. I'm not going to talk about, and I saw her comments, I want to address it. When we talk about the peaceful protest, how long have we been trying to come to the table and ask for police reform and ask for us to stop being killed? So if it took something of that nature to get your attention, then you let it get here, not us. Because we tried coming to the table peacefully. We've been marching and protesting how long for our kids being killed in the street for simple stuff. You know, I read an article just today, and the guy's name is Mariah Lair in California, I believe. He shot a cop in the head, led them on a high-speed chase, you know, taken alive. How many black people get that opportunity? You know what I'm saying? How much
you breaking up.
It's our heart every time. And when a cop get behind us,
Elvin, you breaking up. We can't hear you, bro. You gotta put your Wi-Fi on or something. Yeah, he gonna have to put his Wi-Fi on or something. All right, he'll be back. Okay. But okay, so my thing is, sis, why I'm not understanding why we have so much of an emphasis on Trump celebrating Juneteenth.
It's because the media. I don't watch TV, and so I didn't know it was a thing until I got on Facebook and I saw people talk about it. I think if people are mad, actually, I don't think anyone would thought it was an issue if they hadn't saw it on TV, because I can imagine what the CNN, MSNBC commentators said. They probably was like, "Oh, this is terrible. Why is it on Juneteenth?" When honestly, nobody, it's like it planted the idea in people's mind. They're like, "Yeah, that is horrible." But I mean, I'm not sure. Like maybe he shouldn't have, but the fact that it turned into something, I think is because they turned it into something. And I think that's just how it always is. Like they turn, like how someone in the comments was saying something about him throwing something at protesters or something. Trump was, and I'm like, well, that sounds like something the media brought up. It was like, oh, I can't believe he threw those at protesters. But the police have been throwing the tear gas at protesters this entire time. So I mean, I don't know how you can single that out and be like, how could you vote for him because he threw the tear gas? Well, what about other people who got gassed? And so I mean that's supposed to determine who I vote for. That sounds like something the media blew up for no reason.
So, this brother said, do you believe Trump helps black people? I think black people help themselves, and I think a president only has the opportunity to create policy that allows us to help ourselves. So I would never say that any particular president helps us. I mean, they can, but historically we have been a people who's always had to depend on ourselves to make change. Even when you look at the civil rights era, you look at Jim Crow, you look at the Reconstruction era. I mean, you look at all of the eras in history, black people have always had to help ourselves, and we have had to always be the driving force behind change. Nobody has ever come and said, you know, I'm this benevolent politician who's going to help, or I'm this benevolent, you know, president who's going to help. We've always had to either protest, push the needle. Martin Luther King Jr., when they were protesting and boycotting, that's how the civil rights legislation got passed. They weren't given that. They had to fight for it, and they had to earn that respect. So anytime somebody asks me that, I always say, we have to help ourselves, and we're the ones who I never want to say, you know, this person. I mean, people can do things to help us or to make, you know, our plight lessen our plight, but I always say we help ourselves, and we've always been that type of people. So, sis, do you think these protests have gotten us anywhere? Do you think we've seen some traction from these protests?
I think so, because I think that the conversation is on the table, even amongst Republicans. Like, a lot of them mad, you know, but I think the conversation is brought up, like, especially like the conversation of systemic racism, because it's something that I never really delved into a lot over the years. But like now I've been talking about a lot more, and it just seems like it's really put that on the table. And I like that. I really like that. And I saw that you had put up it was like a peaceful rally, and it was to like rally and protest like systemic racism and things. And a lot of people have been coming out to protest for that, for George Floyd, but also like kind of, you know, bringing that up. And I think that is more of a serious issue, because, you know, no matter who's in office, that's something that should be addressed. And, you know, the people that say, oh, the Democrats, you know, like the guy just said, like, what has Trump done for Black people? Well, you've been voting Democrat all the time. What have Democrats done for Black people? And so, I mean, we could say the same thing. And I'm from the Chicago, my family's from the South Side of Chicago. And
what about Black? So I need to ask you to give us a lecture on black crime in Chicago.
I know. I mean, it is bad, but at the same time, there's Black people there that are, like, my family has a Black-owned business there, and by the way, they didn't destroy it because you know, it was a Black-owned business. But my family, the kids, my cousins, they went to school, like public school. My aunts, uncles went to public school there, and the schools are ridiculous. Like, a lot of my cousins, they had to be homeschooled, or they were put in a private school. Unfortunately, they had the money for it, my relatives, but the schools are awful. Like, how do you address that? Like, the Democrats haven't addressed that. My little cousin, she's the youngest of us. She said that she was a junior in high school. She said no one comes to school, and when they're a senior in high school, teachers are coming to work every day with no students, and no one's doing anything about it. And like, they don't require more than that from students. Like, what's happening here? Like, how is this okay? And I've even looked this up. I can send you the link, you know, when this is over, or if I find it now. But the General Board of Education, there's proof, there's evidence. They sent books, like the worst of the worst books to the schools in Chicago that actually taught antisocial behaviors. And the kids started dropping out in record numbers. This was like in the 70s and the 80s. And the kids started dropping out in record numbers. Like, what is that? You're experimenting like on the students? Like, this really happened. And this was during the time when my family was in school on the South Side of Chicago. So that these books could have been books that they were given. And I mean, is the Democrat Party going to address this? Like, have they ever addressed this? Because this really happened, and it was deemed unethical, and they had to stop. And so I'm just trying to figure out, like, I mean, how can we keep saying, oh, what did Trump do for the Black community? Well, what did the Democrats do? They haven't done anything. And so, which is why, but I know one thing, though, is that the conservatives, Republicans have always been for school choice, and, you know, more supportive of like homeschooling. And I am too, because I mean, the Black community, the kids in the Black community, they're giving subpar education, and we should be, and I mean, that affects us in the future. My uncle, he's a doctor, and when he went to school, like he went to school on the South Side of Chicago. When he went to college, he was unprepared, and he had to work much harder than the white students because he was so behind. When are we going to address that, you know?
Yeah. So that's a great question. That's a great question. So I want to keep. And thank you for allowing me to question you, because you know you've been going in. But there's a couple more questions I want to get.
Yeah.
I want to get back to you on your time during Turning Point USA, right? So let's talk about some of the ideology of Turning Point USA and what you. So what actually was your involvement in Turning Point USA?
I mean, I wasn't like involved like a lot of other people, like actually working for the organization. I just went to that first Young Black Leadership Conference, and yeah, like, you know, to the White House, and just met everyone and talked to everyone, and just was went there for just that one conference, and that was it. But I was like supportive of them, you know, and I talked to, you know, I made posts about them. It was like, oh, this is great, you know. So that's where my level of working with them was.
Okay, so when you started basically listening to the message, what actually like turned you on to the message?
Well, I was a conservative before all of this. So whenever they started doing, like, I saw Candace's like first video, you know, and I was just like, oh, right. Like, she looks like she can speak well. She looks like she can debate, like she's quick on her feet, you know, like she's giving numbers, you know. And so I was on board with her, you know, right away, because of just how I was like, yeah, we need someone outspoken like her to kind of like, you know, spread the movement, you know, and get it going. And so I really liked how she was just so outspoken. And then I was following, like, you know, Brandon from the beginning too, when he, you know, was barely had much going on with his channel. And I just was like really excited. We were all like, MAGA, like make America great. Like, you know, that was the focus, you know, like that we're going to make America great with Trump, you know. And yeah, I guess that was kind of what got me going. But I was already like, you know, conservative anyway. So I just thought it was cool that it was like becoming more like mainstream, you know, like everybody was doing the walkaway thing, but I had already been a conservative. So yeah, I was just glad there were, you know, Black people who were, you know, becoming, you know, that were just getting popular with speaking out about conservative issues.
Okay. So at what point did you was it like Ahmaud Arbery? Was it before that? Was it Breonna? At what point did you start saying, you know what, this type of rhetoric and ideology is not what I really want to, you know, engage in? At what point did you say, you know what, enough is enough?
I would say I started getting suspicious like a couple years ago, but I kind of stopped talking about politics for like 8 months, and I started like doing more research and learning about Black history and just learning about our culture. And then when I got back on, it was I would say, yeah, just actually, I would right before all that stuff happened is when I started just learning more about Black history and learning about the statistics and the numbers and just how the media has been playing with numbers. And I realized that was all they kind of had to offer, those types of Black conservatives. Like all they had was those kinds of numbers, those talking points that you would get from like Fox News or from PragerU or from Ben Shapiro. And they weren't offering any type of solution. And like I was saying earlier, like the education thing, I was learning that there was more going on with education, because they would kind of make it seem like, oh, we're like low IQ, we're, you know, bottom feeders or whatever. And I'm like, well, wait, like, I know that there's things going on with the school system though. And then they would, you know, talk about Black people and Black men in a way, like the police officer, for example. I just noticed that every time a case would come up, it was even before Ahmaud, that anytime a case came up, it would be like the white dude was like in the right, like almost like every single time, you know. And so by the time the Ahmaud Arbery thing started happening, I started seeing so much like racist type comments coming from white conservatives. And I know they're gonna hate me for saying that, but that's true. Like I started seeing so many white like conservatives saying racist things, and a lot of times they would be like, well, it's, you know, Candace said it. And I'd be like, well, they're like, well, a Black woman said it. It's just facts, you know? And I'm like, what? Like, so it's okay to say some of these things because a Black woman said it, or because a Black man said it, or because you heard it from some kind of Black group. It was like, it was a license to them to like keep using these talking points that were just unproductive after a while. Like, yeah, we get it. There's a lot of abortion in our neighborhoods, but like, who put the clinics there? Like, what about that? You know? And what about the doctors that's doing the killings? Like, why is it always on the Black woman, you know? And it's just like a lot of white conservatives were just repeating talking points. And that was it. It was like they were getting it from her or getting it from him or getting it from Blexit or whatever, you know? And not offering any solutions.
Right. Man, that's crazy. So I want you to answer this. This is a comment. This comment, he says, Tasha, she says, I've yet to see anyone place blame on the Black community who wanted the crime bill. But since it didn't turn out right, y'all want to blame it all on one man, which isn't right.
They're saying that the Black community was at fault for the crime bill? What is he saying?
Yeah. So she says, I've yet to see anyone place blame on the Black community who wanted the crime bill, but since it didn't turn out right, y'all want to blame it all on one man, which isn't right. Matter of fact, let me answer that. Let me answer that. What happens is when a community cries out because of crime, remember, the mother of crime and poverty is education. When your education system is broken, that is going to automatically lead to more crime in these communities. So when you started having schools being underfunded in Black neighborhoods, you had the curriculum was not being updated. You didn't have these luxurious trades in these schools, and they were purposely not putting education in Black communities. That led to crime. People were crying out for a solution. Yes, they wanted people or their leaders to come together and put something there that would help alleviate the crime. However, they didn't. The people, in their ignorance, they never knew that this is something that the lawmakers were going to push that was going to have this type of impact on the community. We didn't know. We didn't know the long-term effects of this. And I want to say this. How many of us, even to this day, go and read 800 and 900 pages of legislation? We never do. We depend on our politicians and our leaders to do this. But every bill that comes up, we don't read 800 and 900 pages. So, of course, that was an opportunity for a lot of those Black legislators in the Democratic Black Caucus and even the Republicans to say, listen, we're going to do something about crime in the community. How many of you watch C-SPAN and listen to them go through hours and hours and hours of talking about certain legislation? A lot of these videos that are coming out of things that Biden said during these hearings, we never heard of it. I didn't know. I was shocked. I didn't even hear it till the other day, and it was on the Blacks for Trump page where Biden said the only thing that's missing out of this bill is lynching people from jaywalking. That's what he said. He said the only thing that's missing out of this bill is lynching for jaywalking. I never heard that until that clip. Probably any of us. So what I'm saying is, yes, there were Black leaders, Black people who wanted, more better legislation to help crime, but that's not who we asked for. That's not what we asked for. The leaders knew what they were doing, but they don't represent us. They didn't make the wisest decisions. So Joe Biden, he took credit for that bill. He took credit. Yes, there's a lot of Blacks who voted for it and white, but at the end of the day, when it was a good idea, he stood up and he took credit for that bill on his own. So he lived by that. So guess what? He got to fall on the sword. Jeff asked you a question. He said, how many other Black folks were in TPUSA that left?
There's a lot. I wouldn't want to name them all, so I don't know if they all want to be named, but I've talked to a lot in Messenger. You probably have talked to some too that was at TPUSA.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how the exact number, but I mean, it was just hundreds of people there. So I mean, if as many people are speaking out now, and then that's a lot.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm trying to get this brother. Hold on. So there's this brother, man, who I've been trying to get on forever, and they are the gatekeepers for the black alt-right. I tagged him earlier today, and instead of him jumping on, I've been trying to get him to come on. He's dancing around. He does, because he's one of the ones who says that systemic racism doesn't exist. He's one of the black on black crime in Chicago type people. He is one of the ones who regurgitates Candace Owens' talking points that are disgusting and gross. So I wanted to have a conversation with him. I wanted to talk to him about, why they feel that we should overlook the constitutional violations of citizens who are killed during police encounters. Why should we overlook that because this person had a criminal record? Like, I just want to find out why they feel as though, the Democrats have enacted legislation that has hurt black people for decades and for 60 years, and then they'll turn around and say systemic racism doesn't exist. I just want him to talk about why he feels that systemic racism doesn't exist when we've clearly had cases where police departments have come out and said that they used racial profiling tactics to stop people. We've seen different police departments say that, yes, there were discrepancies in traffic stops between blacks and whites, and these traffic stops did not yield arrests. They were investigatory. See, these are the things that I just want to ask him about. Like, I'm not trying to bash the brother or come on and get into something confrontational. There's just like basic questions that I want to ask him. I understand that, we can also overcome these obstacles, but I believe that we have to point out the obstacles so we understand the trajectory that we have to take. It's not enough to just say, let's pull yourself by your bootstraps. Yes, you can say that, but you got to understand, if somebody's trying to hit you in the back while you're trying to pull up your bootstrap, you need to know that somebody's behind you. You need to know of the traps and the obstacles. That's the only thing that I'm trying to discover from the brother. But I mean, I'm talking to him. He's going back and forth. I already sent him the link. He's saying, he's like dancing around. I'm not understand why he keeps dancing around. He keeps saying, okay, well, I'll see you soon and all that, but I don't know. And it's just kind of disheartening that we don't have more of these conversations with our counterparts who are conservative. We need to have these discussions. I think it's very important.
I noticed that too. I actually saw you talking to someone earlier today. This morning, it was like early this afternoon, who has a really big page, and I like him, and I met him at TPUSA, and you said you tried to call him. Yeah. And I would love to have the conversation with him because I liked him when I met him, and I think that we would make more progress if we had a conversation instead of just having animosity between us. And that's unfortunate. Have you been able to really talk to many like the TPUSA type conservative?
Yeah, hold on. There you go.
Oh.
There you go.
I've seen you before.
Hey.
What's going on, bro? Okay, good to see you. Now let me say something about Willie before we proceed. Willie is not my enemy. We have fundamental disagreements, but Willie and I were together in Florida. We had a good time together. We was in Fort Lauderdale. We broke bread together. We sat back. We ate. We ate, and we had conversations. So even though we have fundamental disagreements, this brother is not my enemy. I did not delete him or try to block or call him outside of his name and things like that because of our disagreements. So I wanted to let the brother know that we are not on a confrontational level. We just have issues and things that can lead to a good discussion, because I'm of the mindset that if we have these discussions, it's going to lead to more positive gains in the future. So I don't know if you agree with that or whatever, but that's my whole point. So I want to ask you. So looking at the situation of events that have occurred, from the Ahmaud Arbery to the to Breonna Taylor and now to George Floyd, we see police community relations are definitely at the forefront of our nation. How do you feel about what's going on? Do you feel like we're going backwards, forwards? I mean, what should be the what where are we going?
Oh, hey, thanks for having me, man. Listen, American Curls, how you doing?
Hi.
Awesome. So we got a trio. So you said where are we going?
Where do you think
Who was the we? Who was the we?
we're going? Okay, so we, as far as Black America, let's talk about Black America in general. You know,
We're
whether I mean, because we're not a monolith, right? But however, we still are viewed as one people in society because of basically the color of our skin.
So I mean, based off the color of our skin, look, man, this is how I see a lot of this stuff. All right, I don't get emotional about these things. I don't get outraged about these things. I don't see these events as black versus white. I don't see it that way. And I think from a biblical worldview, I come from the Bible. What I see when I see the world, I'm seeing the world from the vantage point from God's word, and so that's how I come. So if I don't come off as like um, uh, pro black, pro white, pro, I'm not a pro color. I'm not. I'm pro God's people. That's who I'm for. That's who I'm for. And so that's my whole stance, man. So like I really don't get emotional about these things because I know that the Bible teaches me that Ephesians 6:12, it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So when I look at all the different cases, the biggest question to me is, why do you know about the case? Why does she know about the case? My man who just came in, why he know about the case? Why do we know about these cases? Why do we know? Why do I know about Ahmaud and George Floyd? Why do I know about this? Well, and I don't know about the old girl that got shot in Chicago in her neck. Why do I know about this and I don't know about that? So I see the manipulation, man. I'm media literate. All right, I can read the media, so I'm not illiterate. Media wise, I teach media literacy. I am media literate. So you're not going to find me jumping. Oh, look what they did to the black. No, 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 no. You're not getting me like that. So I sit back and I don't jump out and make rash, emotional, I call it, emotions, getting all in my feelings about somebody who I don't even know. For one, I don't even know the person. Number two, I'm not gonna let the media move me emotionally. So I'm gonna sit back, see what the facts look about. But while everybody else crying, hollering, spitting, fussing, and cussing, and rioting, and protesting, what good is it doing? Like George Floyd, what good? Like imagine all the attention really is not even on like what really happened to him. It's more on the looting, the rioting, and so forth. So man, like I think we as a people are too emotional. I think we as a people are triggered so quickly. It's like, and what I call it is the post-traumatic slave syndrome. It is a trigger. It is like, and by the way, I used to be the same way. I used to be the same way. I would see white people, old white men walk into an elevator. I'm like, man, is he the one of the guys that were throwing rocks at my daddy when he was a little boy? I mean, I remember feeling that way. But when I started studying the scriptures, started realizing that, man, skin color bro, listen. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. So off top, I'm not the first to come out the gate hollering and screaming, "Oh, they got another black boy killed." Man, white boys get killed too in the street. Do you hear about it? No. You know why you don't hear about it? Because the media knows that doesn't sell. That doesn't move people's emotions. And so, man, that's why I see things, man.
Okay, Shock, you want to jump in? I'm gonna say something. You wanted to give a rebuttal on that?
Man, so I'm gonna be honest. I just got done doing a live, and I mentioned the Bible. A lot of people hide behind scriptures. A lot of people hide behind the Bible when they don't want to deal with reality. So in reality, let's deal with the Bible. You say you don't see skin color.
I didn't say that.
Well, you say you don't get excited when a black boy is killed, correct?
I don't.
So even if a white person is killed, as you say, shouldn't you care as far as dealing with the Bible? Shouldn't you care about all God's people, and the media has nothing to do with that?
I do care, but I don't get emotional. See, I know, man. So check it out.
Okay. So when I went to your page just now, I never met you. I just went to your page just now, and you're talking about the same thing the media is talking about, but you're doing it in a negative light. So what's the difference between you and the media if you're saying you don't get excited, but I see George Floyd all through your page? What is your angle of doing that if you don't get excited or emotional about what's going on?
What angle are you talking about?
You're not talking about George Floyd on your page?
Tell me what I said. I mean, give me the context. I mean, I made a couple.
Are you mentioning? You said you don't react off the media.
I don't.
So if you don't react off the media, George Floyd doesn't exist to you.
He does exist.
So what are we talking about when you say you don't get emotional off of the media? So it seems like emotion when you look at your page and you look at your posts, you're reaching for emotions talking about, oh, he doesn't deserve angel wings and all this other like.
Right, exactly.
Okay? So you say you don't get emotional off of what the media is feeding, but you're trying to tear down this man that you don't know, but you use scripture and use the Bible to shield behind.
No, I can't tear down a man for one thing I don't even know. Number two, what you're talking about is black folk put everybody in heaven. We throw angel wings, halos, and we don't even think twice about. So in other words, when it comes to like a person who's getting killed, when they're getting killed and everybody know about it, we focus on the death, how he died. Forget how he lived. Forget what he did with his children. Forget all of that. All right. But see, what we need to understand is this: we're not the final judge. George Floyd's soul has been judged by God.
Correct.
He has stood before God, and everything he's ever done got laid out before him. See, that's my more concern. See, what I cry about, this is what you want to see me cry and it hurt? His soul. Where that man's soul? That's what hurts me. Like, most people care about how he died. Oh, he died with, he's going to live forever. Either heaven or hell. So, like, my whole perspective is I can't get emotional and all riled up over somebody. First of all, I don't know him. All right? And all your skin folk ain't your kinfolk. I hope everybody knows that.
I feel like it's more than that, though. It's not. I mean, some conservatives seem to have turned it into who he was as a person, but it's more of the system that people have been protesting.
Right.
And we didn't choose to put him in the media either. We have to keep in mind that the media is not controlled by us and by Black people. So a lot of times when the narrative of a certain people get blown up, it's not because we did it ourselves, but when something gets put on TV, on national TV, on every channel, it's inevitable that a bunch of people are going to feel emotions about it. And so, I mean, even with the coronavirus, I mean, there was a lot of emotions behind it. A lot of people were scared. There was a good chunk of people who didn't watch TV who weren't scared. So you have to keep that in mind, that this is a system that people are upset and protesting. It's not so. Some people have put it on like, oh, George Floyd he was this kind of person or that kind of person, but I'm not here for that. I'm here for the system. You can't deny the system, and I know you have on your page.
Okay, so denying the system. All right. Once again, denying the system. What does that mean? Denying.
On your page, you said that miss me with the systemic racism because of the prison population. You said that 85% had fatherless homes. So miss me with systemic racism.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for letting me know exactly what you're talking about. For the past 20 years, I have been working with youth and young adults. 20 years, from the elementary school, pre-K, to middle school, high school, to fathers in church, to fathers behind prison bars, to rural schools, to urban schools, to Africa. And time over and over again, the system that starts it all is the one system we jump over. We want to talk about the school system. We want to talk about the church system. We want to talk about the politician system. We want to talk about the police. But we don't want to talk about the home. We do not want to touch the house. The first system that we all come from, the HOUSE, the house. That is the system, my dear sister. That is the true and most broken system in our nation. And that system was designed perfect. God designed it. Mother, father, husband, wife, children. And when that system is broken, you might as well, you can cancel everything else. Those children are going to wind up in trouble. Case in point.
Yeah. Well,
hold on. Let me ask something. Let me say something really quick. So that's good, right? And I think that's an issue that we definitely need to discuss. But I think that is actually acting as a point of deflection at this point, because George Floyd has died. So do we look at the home that the officer came from? Why aren't we scrutinizing his home? Why aren't we saying that, okay, is it from years and years and years of white domination, black subordination, that gave him a sense of superiority, that he could violate this man's constitutional rights by looking at him, watching him die, pleading and begging without any remorse? Since we're looking at the system we're looking at the home of George Floyd, and we're breaking that down, why aren't we looking at the home and the practice and the training of that police officer? So it seems I totally get what you're saying, and I respect what you're saying, but the problem I'm having is it's not going both ways. We're going to give this beautiful critical analysis of the black home and black broken families, and talking about George Floyd and what he did to have drugs in his system or his criminal record, but we're not looking at that same system or upbringing of this white boy who had 17 or 18 previous complaints of police abuse and negligence in his background. So my whole thing is, if we're going to take that same analogy with Floyd and look and scrutinize and analyze our failures as a people, are we going to now turn around and analyze white supremacy and why this white man with a uniform on feels that he's emboldened to be able to do something like this on camera, knowing he's being recorded, and still get off? What makes him, what's his driver to make him have to be so desensitized that he do something like that?
I love your question. Studies and evidence is coming out. This is why I don't get emotional. This is why I don't jump the gun.
Okay.
So research is coming out that George Floyd and Chauvin knew each other.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all know that? So they actually knew each other. Chauvin is the officer, so he was doing security at this club. And George Floyd also was doing security at the same club. They had beef. They had beef. They literally had beef. They did not like each other. Wow. Oh, these are things just coming up. Now, I'm not making this up. So, that means that there was a motive behind this. Now, I don't think, me personally, I don't think that Chauvin's like, you know what, I'm finna kill this. Now, I'm finna kill him. No. I believe he wanted to hurt him. I believe he didn't like him. They work together now, and I believe he wanted to hurt him. He is dead wrong, and he's going to get put up under the prison. He's going to be bending over with the soap, and he's going to get bent over so much he might hang himself. I'm just letting y'all know they knew each other, so it's bigger than white and black. Because watch this. Check this out. I'm gonna just let you go. If Chauvin looked like me, you, and you would have never heard about it. That's what you need to be seeing. That's what you gotta catch. If he looked like me, you would know him. That's the problem I have. That's the issue. See, they know how to manipulate.
And that's not totally true, because Milwaukee just had a riot, about 2 years ago, when they burnt down the bank. What was I think his name Sylvester? I forget his last.
You don't know his name. You don't know his name. No one knows his name.
Anyway, Sylvester Williams, I believe was his name. They actually burnt down the bank, and we knew a few people that was up there protesting and actually trying. It was a black on black situation, cop killing a black dude. They had previous issues dealing with a woman, and like I said, the media, they didn't play that, and then a lot of white folks didn't know about the riot that happened. So
why
you gotta look at
why not?
You gotta look at it. Okay, hold on. So this is what I'm gonna do with you. If we have everything from, let's say, white researchers and white journalists, they didn't care about this. They didn't care about the riot. They actually hit a bank. Have you heard about them hitting the bank? They burnt the roof of a bank, got into the bank, took the money out the bank. You remember hearing this through Vaughn? You remember Vaughn Mays when they arrested Vaughn?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm gonna explain it. So white journalists ignored it. We in the 2000s. This happened in 2 years ago. So white journalists ignored the situation because it still didn't play on race. So you got both sides that play on race. One thing about me, if you ask anybody about me, I say I don't play politics with race, with my race. I don't. Why? Because it's things that the white journalists ignore, and it's things that black journalists or black figures or news people ignore. So it's an even playing field. It's not one-sided where, hey, let's do race relations or whatever the case be with this because it's black and white. It's a time where black people were actually, the victims were actually on the news getting the same thing that you and Candace Owens are doing, dragging this man, but the news are not doing it because Trump is in office. So if we go back from, history, every time that you look on the news, they justify a cop killing a black man. And they stopped doing it. You said you deal with the media. So they stopped doing it in the last about 3 years. To be technically about 3-4, the first year Trump was in office, they still, demonized the black man. They still, the victims, the unarmed people. Now recently, they don't need to do it now because you got Candace Owens, people like yourself and other white, journalists that's going to do it for them. So now the media doesn't have to do to smear the black man. You do it. That's your job now, and you picked up that torch. So that's why you don't get emotional. That's why you don't care because.
Okay. So I don't get emotional because.
Hold on, I'm Go ahead. Am I lying? The media has always demonized the black man. Correct or wrong?
Wrong.
Okay.
So the media is always demonized the black man. Let me tell you how I see
The
it.
media
Now,
has always it's white folks gotta tell you the media has always demonized the black man.
It has. There's statistics. There's actual numbers that show that and even in Hollywood movies, like over 80-something% of movies that we're in is violent, and hardly any with white people. There's actual numbers where we're portrayed violent. You don't think that society starts to look at us different because of it?
I like you. I like how you bring that. Very good question. I like these questions y'all giving. I'm born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. All right, born and raised. I grew up around some goons, some real goons. And let me just say this: art imitates life. Life imitates art. Do y'all realize what's actually happening in our urban communities? What we're seeing on TV and the media is portraying these things is actually happening. Okay, so you can't sit here and say, well, the media is doing it. No. The media is only mirroring what is actually happening.
You just said that the media doesn't portray us violently and negatively. Now you're saying that, oh, well, it is because that's how we are in real life.
Art imitates life.
But that means they are portraying us negatively when they don't.
Art imitates
you can
life.
Repeat that. You can repeat that all you want. And I'm gonna give you another fun fact. You know, like I said, I'm only 37. I've been watching politics since a little boy. I've been paying attention to since I was a little kid. Coming from, you know, having parents that's, you know, pro-black or whatever the case be, or active in our community.
Right.
I remember when what was it? Banging in Little Rock came out.
Oh, 1996.
So, Banging in Little Rock came out, and that was basically to solidify the, I guess you want to say, the crime bill that was actually, they was basically scaring people into this crime bill that, you know, as far as Little Rock, you got the Clintons, you got Hillary. They kept playing it on HBO. They kept repeating it. I was a little boy. HBO turned it to Little Rock, Banging in Little Rock.
Yep, I remember.
So after that, I started paying attention more to media. Why? Because we had a black I don't know, he was a meteorologist. He did the weather. Named Ron Coleman. So I did a workshop with Ron Coleman. I wanted to be in the media. That's what I started focusing on. But I started I probably was like 11, 12, around that age. So I started seeing a lot of negative stuff towards black people. So I'm telling you something, like, we can put aside our personal, you know, I don't know you personally. I don't want to bash you personally. We can put aside that. When I started seeing, as a little kid, I started seeing how the media will always project black people as, you know, gangsters, thugs, hookers, crackheads, killers, serial killers. And I started looking, 6 o'clock in the morning, you wake up, turn on the news, brush your teeth, get ready for work. You're getting programmed by the news.
Right.
Shooting on the west side of town. Okay. You at work, 12 o'clock, you on break, lunchroom, they playing what? The news. You in the lunchroom, they playing the news. You getting, you know, kids killed, you know, kids kidnapped, black kids, whatever, on the side of town. You get home, 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30, you got the news coming on, the same thing. You eat dinner, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever the case be, you still getting programmed. 10:30, you stay up a little bit with your honey. It's a constant program, and all you see was negative things. And this is me as a child. This ain't me as an adult. This ain't me knowing about Democrat, Republican. This ain't me knowing about Trump. Nothing. I seen what they were doing, and it was nothing positive coming out of the news. And I start to not wanting to be, you know, part of that media function. So my mom pulled me to the side. She said, "Baby, this is how it works. You know, they have to demonize somebody to justify what they're doing." Now we're starting to see a lot of people are playing politics with race. Now we're in 2020. So a lot of people are playing politics with race. So we're quick to go demonize anybody that's black. I see the same techniques And some people are not saying you. I don't know. Like I said, not saying you, and I'm speaking as a collective. Why? Because I'm a black conservative still. I'm seeing a lot of black conservatives figure out a way to make money off of demonizing the same black people that we've been demonized in the past. So now it's a hustle to demonize black people and to give white people, talking points. And actually, is no life that's actually being spoken. I dare you to go to any of these top black conservatives and find something positive that they say about the black community. If I dare you, and that's my dare to you. Find something positive that they're saying about the black community. I don't care about the George Floyd comments. We're grown. I don't care about the Arbery comments. I do, but we can take that off the table. Find something outside of that that's positive, that they're speaking life or positivity within the black community, and I guarantee you can't find it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Shaka, let me hold on. Let me just make a real quick point. Nothing too long. I wanted to kind of address your point that you said about how basically it's highlighted because it's black versus white, and I do understand that definitely can be the case. But I think what we're missing is the fact that a lot of this stuff is caught on camera, and the egregious nature in which it happens is what actually brings out that frustration. I mean, when you're looking at a video and you see two white guys running up, or a black guy running down the street, two white guys in a truck with a gun coming and shooting somebody point blank range, that is going to, of course, bring some emotional drama. It's a trigger. You're going to be like, whoa, like, why in the world did that happen? When you look on a video and you see a guy being suffocated and begging for his life, calling his mother's name who's been deceased for several years, that is going to bring emotional trauma, and it's going to act as a trigger. And I think what's happened is not just the fact that it's black versus white, is these things are caught on camera, and we're looking at, and the rage comes from us knowing that there's a buffer in place that is going to take a long time to arrest these people, prosecute the people, and there's a high likelihood of an acquittal. So we already have in the back of our minds that an injustice is going to happen. When you looked at the Ahmaud Arbery video, not only did we see the killing that happened, we understood that it's taken several months for them to even be prosecuted and brought to justice. So I think that's the big picture that we miss sometimes when we're just trying to analyze why these cases blow up in the media.
Okay, so a good point. So I'm not saying that when I saw George Floyd situation, that got me. That right there, that was disgusting. That was brutal. But see, even then, whatever the media is doing, I'm not doing. I don't care what anybody's saying. Whatever the media is pumping, I'm not pumping it. Whatever people are doing that's emotional, you're not going to see me. You're not going to find me. You're going to find me when all the smoke clears, when all the evidence starts coming out, and then that's when you'll find this guy. I'm not jumping out there. And so, once again, how do we continue to get manipulated by the media, y'all? They pull the same triggers every 4 years. Every other year, it's the same thing, and we get caught everything. And guess what? Mind you, you get out there and you get a hands up, don't shoot. Lie. Mike Brown. Lie. That wasn't the case. Hands up.
Who said that was a lie? Because I looked at the autopsy, and the autopsy shows that the entrance rooms was going up with somebody with their hands up.
Hey, very good.
That's the autopsy.
I'm glad you said that. Mike Brown was doing this right here. What? He was challenging the officer.
He can't challenge the officer. When you look at the entry wounds, he was on the ground. This is like I'll put as much money up as you want right now to prove that case, dealing with the autopsy report and how they got the trajectory going through. It was an execution.
Oh my! So did you know
how much you want to? This is what we're gonna do. Since you know,
look, I don't gamble. I'm not here to gamble.
You're not gambling if you know what you're talking about.
I don't gamble.
If I'm wrong, it's not a gamble.
I don't want to take your money. This is the thing.
Okay.
When it comes to that case, did you know that Mike Brown actually put his hand?
I really don't care about none of that. I'm telling you what the autopsy showed.
Okay, you don't care. Okay, all right. Next.
No, anybody that get killed execution style by a peace officer, I don't give a damn what he was doing.
He attacked the police officer. You know that, don't you? He
didn't attack a police officer. You know the police officer actually tried to snatch him in the damn car. I went down there. You talking to somebody that actually know. I went down there. We dealt with lawyers. I looked at the autopsy report. Oh, where did you get your information from?
Mike Brown.
Where did you get your information from, sir?
Mike Brown.
Where did you get your information from, sir?
I can't right now cite it. Right now, it's been a couple of years ago. But Mike Brown reached into the police car, tried to grab the pistol. He was shot in his hand inside the police car.
He got shot in his hand with his hands up.
I'm done. So next question. Miss okay. American. Come on, American Girl.
I was just wondering why, I guess I really wanted more information on your thoughts on systemic racism, because I know you mentioned the fathers in the home, and I mean, I understand that, but I mean, it doesn't take away from the fact that there was actually, there was a point when we did have fathers in the home, it was a normal thing, and it's always been a normal thing. And so what happened that changed and caused it to be, because I don't think you can just put it all on we just woke up one day and got dysfunctional.
I really love your questions. Thank you. So good question. That's a great question. So what happened? What happened closer to slavery, all the way from 1865, 1900s, 1920s, 1940s, when my daddy was born, 1950s, 1960s. What in the world happened all of a sudden? We've had 80% two-parent homes, just like white folk, all the way during this time. Jim Crow, Fugitive Slave Act. 40 acres and a mule that we think, but when we got to Lyndon B. Johnson, and when he said, I had them niggas voting Democrat for the next 200 years, and he put that welfare check out there for the black female, and the black male became obsolete due to that check. The government put a ring on it, and she was running around. She feeling good about herself. The black man became obsolete immediately. Why? He wasn't making enough. He wasn't making enough money. The government said, "Hey, we got you, girl."
So the government was in on systemic racism. So the government.
Listen.
No, he don't want to. He's telling on himself.
Listen.
That's what you just said. You said Lyndon B. Johnson again.
Yeah,
Lyndon B. Johnson, a Democrat,
right,
gave the bait because he wanted to control. Okay, first of all, y'all, the 1950s is when the Civil Rights Act really actually was written up by Republicans, but it was filibustered and it was weakened. Okay. Well, in 1964, the Democrats said, you know what, we're going to take that same Civil Rights Act and we're going to twist it and make it look like it was us. Okay, so what was happening was black people had gained so much political power through the Republican Party. Lyndon B. Johnson's like, no, we had y'all 400 years. We need to get y'all back where y'all used to be. Y'all used to be subservient to us white folk. We need to get y'all back where y'all need to be. So he, like, y'all, do y'all realize a slave master is a really, brilliant mind. They know how to keep a slave, and he don't even know it. Okay, so if I put crack cocaine at your doorstep. I say, I got 5 keys. You say these 5 keys, girl, you gonna have 5 meals. Are you gonna do it? Is that systemic drug dealing, or did you take, or was your greed, or was your lust for money in your own heart that you took it? See, I don't blame other people. I look in the mirror.
So he can do something like that to us, to the Black community, and then you just put all the blame on Black people and not the government that did that to us?
Right.
Well, they didn't do anything to us. We made a decision.
Okay, but hold on. Let me, Willie, and this is what I want to bring up, right? Really quick. What you did is you actually described how systemic racism works. See, systemic racism works just like the way how you said. What they did is the government came in poor neighborhoods. Let's just take your example. The government came in a poor neighborhood and they drop a bunch of cocaine in a poor neighborhood where people who've been economically deprived, who don't have jobs, who've already been crippled through years and years and years of slavery. That was your whole demonstration, your whole timeline. So what happens is, even if you say, I'm going to take it or I'm not, that's your choice. Nevertheless, what the government does is they know the probability is higher that you will make the wrong decision because you have been economically deprived. Remember how Skinner and the rat? Remember how what the psychologist did with the rat? He said, okay, what Skinner did. He said, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to starve this rat. And every time he makes a move that I want him to make, I'm going to feed him. No, that was the dog. That was the dog. I think the rat, he did the shocking, right? He shocked the rat. But with the dog, the dog he fed. So what they did is he took the dog, as we already know, and whatever action he wanted him to take, he fed him. And when the action he didn't want to take, he didn't. He deprived him. So he conditioned him. That's called conditioning. So what you're describing is a person, like you refer to as a slave master. He created a condition of poverty. And now he knew but that's what you just said, though.
He didn't create that. Condition of poverty.
Well, that's what you just said. I was just taking your example.
No, that was about power and control. That wasn't a race. That was if you want to call it something, a systematic political. But it wasn't race, y'all.
Wait, hold on. You said that LBJ targeted Black people, though.
Yeah,
like the Black woman. That's what you said.
And kicked out the Black men.
Yeah,
and you hold on, just for clarity, you are correct. That's why I did not. That did help. You are correct on that. That's why I didn't cut you off and I didn't say nothing. But you're not being totally honest when you just mentioned that part. You don't mention that the fact that the Republicans put the drugs in our community first, and that helped.
See, hold on, time out. Let me say this. All right, y'all.
So you got Democrats and Republicans, which are political arms, attacking the Black community. One punch, two punch.
So I'm a huge proponent of personal responsibility. I'm not a sucker. I'm not a simp. I'm a huge proponent, and I would never, ever make any excuses about anybody doing anything to me. And I said, well, they gave it to me. It's me.
You just did that with Lyndon Johnson.
He set it up. Black folk did it. They don't have to bite.
But you said that systemic racism. You said miss me with that systemic racism. But you just said it doesn't. But it does exist.
Miss me with systemic racism.
Okay, let's deal with this. So accountability is fine. I'm with accountability. But you're saying that systemic racism does not exist. It's either or. You can stand on accountability.
I said miss me with nothing. Okay, this is when I say miss me with it. What I'm saying is that is not the number one public enemy. Number one, the public enemy number one is man, fathers standing up and saying, no, we will not do this. No, baby girl, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. See, that's what men do. Men stand up and say, oh no, whoa, we're not suckers.
We had movements like that. We have movements like that. Like we have movements that men stand up and we clean up our neighborhoods and get taken to jail or assassinated. And I'm not talking about King.
You talking about
And I'm not talking about Malcolm X.
Black Panthers.
What's
Do
your
you
beef
know
with the
about the Black Panthers?
You talking about Black
What's
Panthers,
it-
right?
Yeah, what's the issue with the
you-
Black Panthers? Let me
You
hear that. What's
know
the issue?
about the Black Panthers?
Huh?
Because
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick history lesson.
Yeah.
If you
Hold
gonna
on,
give
and
me
let me hear
the
them, Shaka.
pseudo,
Oh, let
if
me
you
hear
gonna
him,
give me the
Shaka.
pseudo talk,
Shaka, let me hear what he got to say. What's your take on the Black Panthers, bro?
I mean,
What's your take?
they were angry black men who.
that's not true.
Yes, they were. Let me finish. Let me finish, man.
Go ahead.
Listen. Check this out. All right. So when something is really built on something, it's gonna last. When you built on something like the kingdom of God lasts. 12 men with Jesus changed the whole world. How is it 2,000 years later it's still rolling? Because it was built on Christ. When you build anything on anything else other than the rock, you build it on quicksand, you build it on sand, you build it on straw, guess what? It's going to fall. As a matter of fact, the Black Panthers imploded from the inside. The two leaders, they were fighting each other. Are
you ready for your history lesson, or are you gonna keep
fought
talking
with each other?
Are you gonna keep talking the pseudo regular talking points?
That's the
or
truth.
do you know? Just say I don't. It's okay, like sir. It's okay to say I don't really know about it too much.
Go ahead, drop it, Shaka. Go ahead, drop it. Go ahead and drop it.
They were doing positive things in the community. They was feeding the kids.
Anyway, okay, have you? Okay, let. This is where we're gonna see where you at. Have you heard of the White Panthers?
No.
The White Panthers was created themselves after the Black Panthers during the Black Panthers because they couldn't join the Black Panthers. So you had a ally, an affiliation with the White Panthers. This kills the racist talk, the angry black men talk. This is what I'm about to dust off. So you had the Rainbow Coalition, the real one, not the one that Jesse Jackson ran. You had the Rainbow Coalition, and then you had the White Panthers. So the White Panthers was doing, they were the mediators between the Black Panthers and the Confederates or the KKK or whatever you want to have these conversations on how to stay out of our communities and stop police brutality, first off. Then we had to get, supplements for, we had clinics where we were doing, just basic minor stuff, got measles, chicken pox, flu and stuff like that. We had our own thing set up. And then you had the summer drives with the breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm just putting that right on the target. So in those steps, you had to get rid of the drug dealers that was in our community. You just said accountability. The Black Panthers was getting rid of the drug dealers in our community, and we all know that the drugs come from where?
Colombia.
But who and then no Colombians dropped the drugs off in our community.
Come on, don't do that. Don't do that, man.
But you said earlier where they came from.
Colombia.
What are we gonna talk about, man? Like you think somebody from Colombia dropped off some drugs in our community? Anyway,
personal responsibility.
Oh, I'm gonna deal with that. We're talking about personal responsibility. Anyway, so let me stay on focus and not get distracted. You had the Black Panthers come clean up the black communities all over the United States. Not in one city, not in this city, all over the United States. We were kicking out drug dealers and getting drugs out of our community. And we had clinics set up where people that were addicts can get help and beat the monkey or get the monkey off their back. We got infiltrated by the CIA, by the FBI, this whole fight that you're talking about internally. They had informants that had a different agenda than the people. So you had, when you say that it was black angry men, here's another thing that I can dagger you with. So you had all power to the people. It didn't say just all power to black people. It said all power to the people. When you read the Constitution, it says we the people. It didn't say all to, to white people, whatever the case be. So you had all power to white people, all power to black people, all power to red people, all power to yellow people.
You believe that's what that was about?
Do I believe it? I know that's what they're about.
Okay.
That's why they got taken out. That's why they got assassinated, and that's why they got all this time. That how many? Okay, let me do this. How many white folks did the Panthers kill? Just go around and killing people. Don't do it. Just say I don't know.
No, I don't recall Black Panthers going around killing people.
So how do you say that they were just hateful people going? You know, are we talking about the informants or are we talking about the original Black Panthers? See, this is where you confuse.
Well, Shaka, can I add a point really quick? Thank you, I appreciate that. Understand they had a reason to be angry. So let's not act like their anger wasn't justified. Anytime you have a system that is at that time geared toward, I mean, like Shaka said, they were being targeted by the FBI. I mean, they were actually just putting yourself in that time frame and understanding the time, right? And looking at the severe racism and the blatant outright racism that was going on, you have a right to be upset. We look at the founding fathers of America and we empathize with their plight against Great Britain, and we feel their rage and their anger and their frustration, and we feel like, you know, we read their works and we read the works of our forefathers, and we look at their anger and we hold them as being patriots. And that same anger is that emotion that brothers like Huey and Bobby and H. Rap Brown and Malcolm and other brothers and sisters like Assata Shakur, they had that same anger because they were literally watching their communities being decimated by a government system that was targeting them day in and day out. They had a right to be angry. So okay. You have a right to be angry. So I don't want to just make it look like anger is a bad emotion, because they had a right to be angry. And anger is sometimes that tipping point to where you're going to say, you know what, let's make a change in our communities for the best.
Be angry. Be angry and sin not. That's what the Bible teaches. It teaches us to be angry and not sin. All right. So so back to the whole systemic racism thing, y'all. Check this out. At the end of the day,
I had one question for you. I wasn't done. What happened to the Black Panthers?
They turned to the Crips and the Bloods.
No.
Yeah.
What happened to the Black Panthers?
They turned to the Crips and the Bloods.
Prove that. Let me prove that. Prove that.
Y'all,
prove that.
The Black Panthers, the Black Panthers literally shifted and became a violent group of black men named the Crips and the Bloods. That's what they end up becoming. Now, do the history. You can do it if you want to. That's what they became. That's where the Crips and the Bloods came from. That
not
group.
True. Not true.
As they imploded, it decimated and turned into a violent group.
Even the Crips. Just another history lesson for your folks. Even the Crips and the Bloods were infiltrated into, turning violent.
Just like the Black conservative movement is being infiltrated right now.
Exactly.
Same thing. Same thing. I said just like the Black by who? By non-Black people. By non-Black people.
Okay, check it out, y'all. Check it out. Once again, we're talking about man-made systems. All of this man-made stuff y'all talking about. Everything from the Black Panthers, White Panthers, Crips, Bloods, Democrat, Republicans. Listen, all this stuff is built not on Jesus Christ. So eventually, all these things are going to fall to pieces. So what I want to share with y'all is this: the only thing the Bible says, only what you do for Christ will last. None of this stuff is going to last. Black Lives Matter, it's not going to last, okay? It's not going to be here in the next 15 to 25 years. It's not going to last, okay? None of these things that man tries to put together is going to last. Only what you do for Christ will last. And that's why I deal with me. That's why I deal with the mirror. That's why I turned the mirror into the Black community face and said, no, stop talking about white people. Look at yourself. When I grew up, this is what was told to me growing up. Mama, they doing it down the street. I'm not such a. Now I hope one of y'all mama told y'all this. We are not them. Don't you? When I tell you something, you don't tell me what they're doing down the street. You do what I say in this house. So when I grew up,
but I got a question. So if you think that we should just focus on us, not worry about what the white man's doing or anything, well, if whoever you want to blame for the school system, whoever you want to blame white man, the Illuminati, whatever. If they're doing that to the school system, shouldn't we know? I mean, like, so we can know not to put our kids in the school system, or so we would know where to put our kids. So it's not necessarily like, oh, we're just blaming the white man, but it's a matter of knowing what's happening.
So
exactly.
So what do you? So that's okay. Great. Being informed. Good. Great.
So you know not to put your kid in that system, because I mentioned this. I don't know if you were on here, but I'm from the South Side of Chicago, and I lived in the suburbs, and my family lived in Chicago. Those schools are different, and so I mean, if you don't know this as a Black person, you think you're putting your kid in school and they're learning, and you live in the Black neighborhood, and you don't know that the school is messed up, is jacked, and that the school in the white neighborhoods is better. You can get done in that way. And
so school systems, all right.
I mean, don't you think we need to know that though? Like, we can't just be like, oh, like, just not blame the white man. We need to know that the school system is worse in our neighborhoods for whatever reason.
Oh no!
For whatever reason you think it is. If you don't want to just blame the white man, for whatever reason you want to put it on, because it is the white person that did it. For whatever reason you want to, shouldn't we still know about it?
Check this out. A school system. You know what makes a good school system? Let me tell you what makes a good school system, because I've been in tons of them. Let me tell you what makes a really good school or a good school system. It's three things. I don't care where you are in the world. These are three things right here. Number one, high parental involvement. Number two, experienced leadership as a principal. Number three, well-prepared teachers. And watch this. There's one thing on that list that you 9 times out of 10 not going to get, and that's number one. Every school I have ever taught in, ever been in, and I've been in, I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many. The number one schools, they're not white schools. The number one schools, they're not Black schools. The number one schools have three things. High parental involvement. So if you go to these schools you're talking about, they're not performing well, I can guarantee you they do not have high parental involvement. But I can tell you this, on Friday night, they have high attendance at the basketball game, high attendance at the football game, high attendance at the track meet. But when it comes to parent-teacher conference, nobody. When it comes to open house, 10 people. And so these are the things that when I speak and I say these things, nobody wants to hear that. Y'all don't want to hear that.
We letting you talk. We letting you talk.
It's not the facts. I'm telling you, on the South Side of Chicago, the education is not the same as the suburbs. It don't matter the parent involvement. It is not the same.
That's not true, folks.
It is true.
You try.
I'm from there. I can tell you.
I want to get them on record. So you telling me that the Black community, the inner city Black community education is the same as the suburb white education? Is that what you going down? That's the sword that you going down with.
Check this out.
No, it's a yes or a no.
Take all those Black kids from those schools that they attend, put them in. Watch this. Check this out now. Put them in the suburbs with where the white kids at. Take the white kids, put them where they
go ahead. You proving the case.
Listen.
They have a higher education level, so yes, they're going to do better in the inner cities, in the urban cities as white kids. And then when you take those Black kids that haven't had the education or the curriculum to understand something, they're going to have a trouble or a problem succeeding under that because they're not used to that curriculum.
So
you just proved the case.
Shaka, I have 3 children.
I homeschool.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it's a difference, and the reason I homeschool because I know it's a difference. So I'm not on here feeding you a narrative that is something that I don't walk the walk or talk the talk. I homeschool. I know it's the difference between curriculums.
It is.
The difference is between behavior. Listen, okay. I'm living proof.
White kids are not mischievous.
Hold on. I'm living proof. I have been into a school where nobody in the school was black. Janitor, principal, no. And I'm teaching. I'm talking about redneck.
I have.
And
I'm from Iowa. So I'm from Iowa. We got the highest education rate at that time, period. So
when when I'm in the hallway, nobody's bumping into me. Nobody's cussing. Nobody's fussing. People are moving down the hallway. Now these poor kids. I'm talking about this is these poor kids. They're handling business. Are they perfect kids? No. But they're there with a reason. Watch this. I go right over to another school. People look like me. It's a total different feel. It feels like Lean on Me in the hallways. And you telling me that these same black kids can't perform because of the curriculum? It's not the curriculum. It's the behavior. That's what it's the home. When a child goes to school, these children are not going to school to learn. These children are going to school to project their image. That's why they go on to school. They're not going to school to say, hey, I can't wait to learn something today. I can't wait to get back home and tell my dad what I learned today in class. They're not there for that. And if you believe that,
you in Memphis?
Oh, it's everywhere. I mean, yes, that's where I'm from.
I'm talking about, but that's where you talking about. This goes because I'm in the school system out here. These kids, they don't just yes, they have behavioral problems, and yes, I see white kids with behavioral problems as well.
See, I don't want to talk about white people. I don't want to talk about white people. I don't want to talk about white people. I don't want to talk about white people.
It's fine.
I don't want to talk about white people.
I'm gonna talk about it. That's fine.
Go ahead.
So I deal with a school system that you have black schools, you have mixed schools, you have black, white, Mexican, and you have white schools with a couple sprinkled here and there. Most of my friends, personally, they have their kids in a white school where they get better education, better teachers,
better behavior.
Oh, the kids act just like the other black kids. So it's like they're not whitewashed. They act just like the ones that you said is popping their collar and projecting. They just got a higher sense of education, so they're learning at a swifter rate and a more intensive rate than public schooling, which is under budget, basically underfunded. And you have these classrooms that's 30 kids in one classroom, one teacher. The teacher don't want to be there.
No, they don't want to be there.
I know why she don't want to be there. I know why.
It's still their job, correct?
I've seen kids cuss teachers out, slap them, throw books at them. Watch this, man. Check this out. 71% of all dropouts come from fatherless homes. What you want to do with that? Is they have anything?
Hold on, time out. Can I say something? Where did you get those statistics from? And I never got polled for anything. I never got polled for anything. So where did you get those statistics from? And
71%.
How many people do you know? Hold on. Who do you know personally that got polled in your family for this? That's the better question. Who got polled in your family for this?
Man, nobody in my family dropped out. But anyway, 71%.
Hold on, time out. Who in your family got polled for this?
So check this out. If you don't want to deal with the facts, that means you are a liar.
How are they facts when you can't answer something?
Yeah, I mean,
that got polled for this, and okay, who are you with? Do I know if you in your household with a woman? Do you know if I'm in the household with my woman? Do you know if Shakim got a woman at the household? Do you know if American Chris or whatever do you know she got a man in the house? No. So where are these statistics coming from, sir?
I'm gonna look at my. I'm gonna tell you. It's from. Let me see. Hold on.
I'm asking. Do you know one person?
Hold on. National principal. Hold on. National Principals Association report. So check this out. If you can't deal with the fact, okay, do you believe this? Okay, let's watch this. Do you believe that 72% of all black babies are born to single mothers? You believe that? You don't believe that, do you?
No.
Do you believe this?
Okay, so
watch this. Hey, do you believe this?
Okay.
Do you believe in one in four students teens from the ages 13, 19 has an STD? You believe that?
It's possible.
Oh, so it's possible. So okay, let me see. So do you believe that 77%?
You talking about a disease. Hold on, time out. You talking about a disease that's a disease that you got to go get treated for, compared to somebody. You can't answer a question. Do Shaquem got a woman at the house?
No.
Do that statistic tell you? Do I got a woman in the house? Do that statistic tell you that? With a disease, you got to go get treated for it, so that it's documented that people are getting treated for it. You can't do that with that. So I know somebody personally that's been treated for a disease. Do you know anybody personally that's been polled for, do you got a woman at the house? Are you a single parent? No, you don't know anybody.
63% of all youth who commit suicide.
Y'all have a nice day, man. I'm about to go eat some cereal.
There you go.
Good night.
Peace. Hey, I love it. 63% of all youth who commit suicide come from fatherless homes. 77% of all teenage pregnancy are from girls from fatherless homes.
I mean, I think we agree that we need fathers in the home. I don't think that was what the debate was about.
Listen. You can agree or disagree. It doesn't matter to me.
What does it matter? I'm just,
because
we just named off all these statistics.
No. It doesn't matter whether you agree. It's truth. So you can see, people don't agree with truth. No,
I agree with that. I agree with that.
If you agree with it, check this out. What is really affecting our young people? What is really systemic? When I was in the jails teaching a father's class, let me tell you what I used to do. I had them thinking deep. I come in on the blackboard, on the whiteboard. The system is, and I put a blank. White boys, black boys. The system is blank. They come in, everybody sit down, come in with their chains on. Red jumpsuit mean they kill somebody. Orange jumpsuit, misdemeanor, they, drink, drunk drive, and all this stuff. I got killers in the room. White, black, red, and yellow. I said, hey man, y'all come. I didn't give them no direction. I said, complete this sentence. The system is stop. The system effed up, man. It's effed up. I said, okay, I agree. I said, you're the system, and you're effed up. Guess what happened in that room full of goons? They get completely quiet. They are the system. I am the system. You are the system. And your choices get you where you're going. And if you can spend your time trying to blame the system for your choices by the system, I don't want to fool with you, because you're just making the excuses.
Nobody's doing that though. Nobody's trying to blame just the system though. We're just saying that we have to factor that in. That's all we're saying.
So this is and I agree with you. So this is what I see, right? Like, let me allude back to what she said earlier. I think we have to have a general fundamental understanding of what we're up against. And I think if we don't understand what we're up against, then we're never going to have, it's like being at war. When you're at war, you got to really understand the enemy. You got to understand the what the enemy is trying to do. You got to understand the route that they're trying to take. You got to understand all of the trades and the traps. So I believe that when we're trying to raise young men into being warriors and intellectuals, and we're trying to raise young women into being intellectuals and queens and mothers and caretakers and of our civilization, we have to understand, young black men, that there have been instances of racial profiling in police departments. Police departments have used their appearance to negatively to put forth traffic stops. So we talk to them about their appearance and the way how they dress. We're going to talk to them in the way how they carry themselves, because there's a stereotype that the system has created on how a thug actually looks. So when I talk to them and say, listen, this is the profile that police will use and have used to say you are guilty. So what I do exactly is I teach them that and say, hey, listen, this is what you got to be on the lookout for. This is how you can circumvent that. This is how they feel that drug dealers look. If you, okay, so if we know, and all three of us probably know, that police target Crown Victorias with 22-inch rims.
Oh, now we being real. Windows. Now we being real. Now we being real. Thank you.
Yes.
Debbie B.
Yes. We know that police will target that because
the box Chevy,
yes, Chevy on 24s.
Yes, sir. 26s.
26s. If we know that this is something that police look for, I understand you might like this type of car, but if you buy this car, guess what? It's going to increase the likelihood that you're going to encounter a police stop.
Now you're keeping it 100. Watch this. I like it. So I like 100. So check this out. I like what you said about the enemy. And you know what? I think that's our biggest problem. Who is the enemy?
Hey, y'all, I gotta go. So you guys keep chatting.
Yes,
but it was nice chatting with you guys.
Pleasure.
Yes, ma'am. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I mean, I got about 10 more minutes. But check this out.
Okay, I can go 10 more minutes.
Who is the enemy? Who is the enemy?
Well, the enemy is. Oh, good. You want me to answer that? Okay, so the enemy is actually whoever, whether it's a system, a person, individual, if you want to call it a negative spirit, a negative mindset, anything that is actually opposite of the law of God or the law of nature. So I know if the body is built to not to ingest smoke, then the enemy is a cigarette. The enemy is whatever chemical that's going in my body that is going to alter the creative function of my lungs. If it's the liver, whatever the function of my liver is, if there's anything that is going to be in my body that is going to make the liver or to impede the process which the liver is created to undertake, that's the enemy. So when you look at the harmony in the mind of God that creates the universe and the laws of the universe, whatever actually causes it to operate outside of its original function, that's the enemy.
All right, so I'm gonna keep it a whole stack. All right, the enemy, 1 Peter 5:8. Be alert. I want you to listen to this and think about. You can put the white man in here. You can put systemic racism. Like, kind of think. You can think along those terms if you want to. But watch this. Be alert and sober-minded. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking for someone to devour. I'm going to read another translation. Stay alert. Watch out for your great enemy, the devil. He prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. Mm-hmm. That sounds like, I've heard people say the white devil. White man, the white devil. The problem is this. Could it be that the black man knows he has an enemy? He knows it's systemic. He knows that he needs to be watching out. But could it be that the black man will never win this war because he's fighting the wrong enemy? The devil is the enemy. The white man is not. So we are really fighting. Like, it's amazing to me, all this energy. We got all the energy in the world. The systemic devil. The systemic devil. He is the systemic system. All right. And he's been doing this for generations. He has intel on you, me, and everybody who never lived before us. He has intel on your great grandfather, great mother, mine too. And he knows all the triggers, all the buttons to push to this generation. He don't know the future, but he is the enemy. And so not smoke, not, no, Satan, that's our enemy. So in order to understand systemic racism, you need to understand the systemic devil. And if we don't understand that, we don't know his schemes, we don't know what he's doing, we get emotional, mad, and fight each other. And the Bible also teaches us, I said it in the beginning, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. That's not the fight. We are wrestling against a spiritual wickedness in high places, darkness. And so if we capitulate and put that spiritual wickedness in high places on a white man, on a racial issue, the devil's like, man, I love it. He can take, he can wipe a whole generation out, and guess what? You won't even know it.
Okay, so let me say this, right. I think what's happening is we're not understanding that the enemy has a name and an address. The enemy has a phone number.
Yeah,
the enemy
devil hell.
Okay, yeah, and let me say this. So the enemy not only is something that is a thought process, a thought pattern, but it manifests itself through the physical realm. So what starts off in the mind, yes, what starts off in the mind is manifested on the physical realm in reality. So when you start looking at the enemy, the devil, that mindset actually creates a Jim Crow law. They actually use legislation to enact rules and regulations that target people, that target races, that target gender, that target class. So it's manifested into something. So I think it's good to articulate, and it sounds good to make the enemy into some spiritual realm that is not tangible, but we have to understand that it manifests itself in reality. And for us, in order for us to be able to effectually fight that enemy, we have to arm ourselves with the understanding of how that enemy operates, because like you said, the Bible says we are at war. So we still have to look at how the enemy has declared war on us and look at the certain vices that the enemy uses, and we have to arm ourselves with the knowledge and the wisdom and how to combat that. And this is why
Go ahead.
And this is why I'm saying systemic racism exists. Our black on black crime, white on white crime, crimes in our communities exist. And I think the only way that we're going to be able to combat a lot of these things is to have conversations, meaningful conversations when it comes. And I believe that conservatives are losing in this opportunity of a lifetime because we're not addressing the atrocity that none of us, and we're deflecting. We're not if just say somebody like me, and you say you in the schools too. So I teach a conflict resolution class in the schools. So I'm always talking about black on black crime. I'm always talking about things in our community. Nonetheless, a lot of the people that I'm looking at right now that are saying, what about black on black crime locally in my community? I never see them whenever we're having conversations with law enforcement on how we can build police community relations. They're never involved in conversations when we're talking about how can we build transparency in police departments to make the community feel like, they have input on what's going on. These people never involve themselves in that discussion. So it comes off as hypocrisy and arrogance when I'm reading the comments on my page from people locally who are now saying, what about black on black crime, only as a rebuttal to a situation where a black man's constitutional rights were violated by a law enforcement officer. That's what gets me upset.
Okay. So I see what you're saying right there. However, on the flip side, I think the way we react as black people when something happens that's not somebody that's black is doing it to us is so over the top that people are like, are you kidding me? Do you realize, man, how can you be taken seriously reacting like this over somebody who kills you that doesn't, well, not even you, excuse me, that kills somebody else that you don't even know, that's a different color than you. But when somebody in Chicago just this past week, I think 18 people got killed in 24 hours, bro. Like, to me, man, I'm sorry, but one situation is like a heart murmur, and the other one is like a brain contused, like a brain hemorrhage. And so I can't take people seriously when they're up in arms just because somebody white killed somebody black. I can't take that seriously, and I never will until we can get up in arms about what's happening on a daily basis in our own backyards. I don't take none of this rioting, looting, and protest. I'm not moved by it. As a matter of fact, the more protesting about something there is, the less you're going to see me concerned about it. I mean, I'm not concerned because we don't come out and do what needs to be done. And so once again, back to the home. These communities you're talking about, I guarantee you, they're fatherless. You want to know what the police? You want to know where the police are going on the regular? They're not going to black neighborhoods. They're not going to white neighborhoods. They're going to neighborhoods where there are no fathers. And so where there are no fathers, there are no police, because police are fathers. They father their houses. They father they police everything. They want to make sure, hey, what's going on in here? Whoa. And so without that piece, man, and without that being the number one priority, if our number one priority is systemic racism and it's not systemic fornication, it's not systemic laying down with this female, putting your seed in her and flushing it and then driving off, bruh, I can't take none of this stuff seriously, and I never will. I'm not. I won't. I never will, and because I'm not a simp. I'm not a simp. Okay. I'm not a sucker. And so I am in the mindset that it is about first base, home first. And if all the attention is not going to home, like Michael Jordan, he's sending 100 million over the next 10 years to racially motivated. Oh, I don't care, man. Mike, you can hoop, whatever, bro. You the best to ever do it. But, bro, I don't care nothing about what you just put your money in. Okay. Because guess what? It's not going to change anything. Kaepernick got on one knee. What did it change? Nothing. They going to get on it. Drew Brees came out and said, hey, Drew Brees is like, man, I want to be patriotic, man. I want to stand for the flag. My grandfather, this man can't even have his own. Well, he can, but he's a sucker. He's a simp. He can't. He didn't have the balls enough to have his own opinion. But here come the black collective and they say you can't have that opinion. And now, mind you, he didn't say anything about black people. All he said was, I don't want to disrespect the flag, kneeling for a cause that I don't even believe in. And so, man, I'm so sick of these millionaire race hustlers. They got all the cash, all the money. Why don't they get together and put their money together? Put that Bentley. Don't buy the Bentley, okay? But get your Escalade. Then don't and put your money together in your community, Oakland, Kansas City. So let me. A lot of them have, like, if you look at Marshawn Lynch, you look at a lot of players have actually built program. Hold on. A lot of players, I mean, look at Jalen Rose. I mean, these individuals have actually built schools. Look at LeBron James. So a lot of them are putting their money where their mouth is. But let me go back to the first point that you said. Right? When you start, for one, we should be able to focus on a multitude of issues simultaneously. So just because somebody is focusing on police brutality, that doesn't mean that people aren't focusing on what's going on in the black community. Now, a lot of times, and we all know this, a lot of times, what we're fighting is injustice. And as you know, just as well as I know, whenever there are killings in the black community, we all know that these people are apprehended as fast as possible. They're locked away. They're given high bonds. Justice. No, they're not.
Hold on. Justice is served. Hold on. Let me tell you this. You cannot, and I'll be more than happy to let you go and look for it, but you can't show me a case right now that is probably in the black community that looks like in Ahmaud Arbery, where a black man just took and shot another black man on video. They know who it is. This person sat home for 2 months. And the only reason and the DA looked at the case and said, we're not going to charge him. Then they turn around and after 2 months of a month of protesting, they're apprehended. See, these communities are never to that extreme to where we have to go out of our way protesting, fighting, and
and putting our all and our energy into something to have somebody arrested. We don't have to exert that same energy in our community to bring justice with black people. We don't have to. So the thing is, right, I agree with a lot of things that you say, especially when it comes to personal accountability. I agree with you 100%. When you start talking about the active role of the father, I will fight with you 100%. I totally agree with you. I agree with you when you say that fatherlessness is a problem. 1,000%. There's a lot of issues that I totally agree with you, and I will back you 1,000%. And so I want to leave here with that understanding that there are things that we definitely agree on as a conservative, right? And I believe that we uphold the Constitution because that is what our country was built on. So when I see a man whose constitutional rights have been violated, I don't want to necessarily minimize his death by bringing up his criminal record. That's not the constitutional violation that's occurred.
But let me say something about that, because I think the reason like, look at the bigger picture. I think the reason his background was brought up was because
Candace Owens.
Well, I mean, whatever, but like
Candace Owens brought it up. Nobody was even talking. Listen, hold on. Let me say something really quick, and I'm gonna let you talk. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Candace Owens, everything that we're saying about the media and how the media creates false narratives, Candace Owens took a false narrative out of thin air and created a narrative. She said that this guy was a martyr and a hero. Nobody ever said George Floyd was a hero. If you look at the definition of a martyr dies for a cause that they believe they should fight for or live for. George Floyd was murdered. He didn't go out fighting for a cause. The man just got caught up in a police interaction and he died. So her definition of martyrdom doesn't even apply. When you look at the definition of a hero, nobody ever said that George Floyd was a hero. But since she could not justify the act of murder that was imposed on him, she had to look for an alternative route to say, okay, to desensitize us from looking at the murder. So she chose route number 2, which was, let's criminalize him. That's going to essentially desensitize the mainstream media and the people to be more, I would say, acceptable of the circumstance of murder.
So you say you say criminalize him. Okay. So I guess what I see is this.
Okay.
White man shoots black man, kills him, and the emotions erupt. And everybody hashtags. Nobody has any facts. All we do is see a video and we jump. Right. And even with the Ahmaud situation, man, I saw him going towards a shotgun. That man he was on the other side of the truck. Oh boy, homeboy on the other side of the truck. This man come around and comes to him, grabbing his shotgun. Grab my shotgun, you're gonna get dead, you're gonna get shot too. Grab mine.
All right, I want to say
he was already being chased and they already shot him.
It doesn't matter. No. I'm talking about no. See, I'm talking about when you go to a man, you grab his gun.
On that part, let me explain something to you. On that part, you had what the FBI or the GBI, whatever, Georgia Bureau of Investigations. They arrested the guy that had the camera because they had ran over Arbery already with the truck. Mm-hmm. So when they hit him with the truck, that's when he went towards the guy that you see.
He already knew there was that.
Oh, check this out. Are you talking about what's on video?
Forget the video. We're talking about the rest of the investigation. See, this is where you get mixed up at.
I'm talking about him dying.
Listen.
I'm talking about him grabbing a shotgun. Did you see that?
Oh my goodness. Are you paying attention? When you're getting ran over by somebody, hold on.
I asked you a question.
I was already talking. I'll answer your question when I get done with my statement. When you have somebody that then ran you over already, they didn't chase you down all the way to the block.
What do you mean ran you over? Like
he was ran over. See, this is
ran over by a truck, like run over.
He was hit by the truck. That's why they arrested.
Boom, run over.
Oh my goodness. He was hit with the truck.
Says who?
Says the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations.
Okay, he was hit by the truck. I'm talking about him dying.
Oh my! Listen to me. He got hit by a truck. They chased him down, and then that's when he had no choice but to go to somebody that's. What you gonna run towards the truck? With somebody chasing you down,
You
what
run
do you do?
away from somebody.
He can't run away. They didn't already hit him. This is why. Okay, let me ask you this then. Since you want to do all the theatrics, why are they in jail?
What they got
Why are
arrested.
they in jail? Why are they in jail?
Arrested.
For what?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
For what?
Yeah, that's a good question. And
Okay, so
because
when,
if in
after
Georgia,
they killed him,
in Georgia,
after they killed him, what
in
did they
Georgia,
call him?
the state laws is you can't. They would, man. Number
You
one,
cannot.
is
You can't make a citizen arrest. That's not a citizen's arrest.
if they the Georgia,
That is what they did with him is not a citizen's arrest, sir.
that's what they were doing.
You can't do a citizen's arrest with lethal as far as running over folks and then using lethal force and blocking off his way. You can't block somebody physically out the way of running or impeding.
It's a yard to the right.
Oh my good. You
Well,
cannot.
listen, man, hey, listen. I'm about
you
personal
personally-
responsibility. I'm about personal responsibility. You grab
Okay.
somebody's shotgun, you're gonna get killed. Period.
So you're gonna dismiss that they chased the man down for no reason.
I'm talking about death. You talking about chasing the man down. I'm talking about death.
We're talking about accountability, bro.
You can fight that in court.
This is we're talking about
you
accountability.
fight that in court. You fight that in court.
For anybody that's confused out there, whenever you're doing a citizen's arrest, please don't listen to none of these folks. You cannot go chase nobody down when they're impeding. They are not a threat. You can't use any violent force on a citizen's arrest. The citizen's arrest is over once you cut off that person from fleeing. If I have a weapon and somebody's coming towards me and I'm like, hey, stop, and they grab the weapon, citizen's arrest is over. That's not self-defense. I'm not a cop.
Man. Check this out.
I deal with.
Let's just say because me personally, I'm not doing what they did. Let's just say you're right. They were wrong for going and trying to stop this guy and impede his way. They're wrong, right? They're wrong. They're wrong. I'm talking about at the point when you go around the front of the truck and you grab
They had already chased them down.
You still not even hearing me.
No,
I don't care about. They chased them down. Okay, they chased them down, right?
They chased this man all the way through that damn neighborhood. He was already burnt out. He already got hit by the damn truck.
Let's say they chased him.
Burnt out. What do you do?
Hey, I give you all that. They chased them for about half a mile. Okay, 2 miles. Let's say all that. I'm talking about at the point of grabbing a loaded shotgun. You think you're gonna live?
What else do you do? You go out with. I've been in situations. I might not seem like it, but people that know me personally on here, I've been through some shit. Have I grabbed the gun, slapped the gun in the party? Fuck yeah. So
well, guess what?
What do you do?
You're lucky.
What do you do when your life is on the line? You don't sit there and lay down.
You're lucky. You're lucky.
So let me say this. Right? Let me say this. Willie, and I like what you're saying about personal accountability and personal responsibility. I like that. So this is the thing. Where does personal accountability and where does personal accountability fall with the McMichaels, right? Because we're looking at, like I said, we're scrutinizing. Hold on, let me finish really quick. Because we're scrutinizing Marbury's personal responsibility, right? We're saying that he's accountable for grabbing somebody's gun. You're gonna get shot. So now look at the McMichaels. Where does their accountability lie? Where if law enforcement is telling you don't pursue somebody, isn't it your responsibility to obey a direct order from 911? Now, this is the thing. Once they were arrested, they admitted that he did not have any evidence of a crime being committed. He never had any interaction with the homeowner. He never had any interaction. So they didn't know that a crime was being committed. So they have a personal accountability also to be law-abiding citizens. So if they were law-abiding citizens in the beginning and they took accountability and responsibility for their actions, there would have never been a situation that they find themselves in now. So I don't have a problem with the argument of personal accountability, but it needs to be equally applied. That's my position. It has to be equally applied.
This is what I look at. How far was Ahmaud's house from where he was? How far was his house? Does anybody know?
Yeah, he was right up the street.
Well, what was he in the neighborhood for?
No, they say he was up the street. They said his family stayed there. Yeah.
They say no, he wasn't just, bro. Yeah.
No, you didn't even know it was an investigation, bro. Like stop it. Let's stop.
No.
Like they
So
called
he
him.
He just. That's what he was doing, right?
Did you just listen to anything that he just said? They told the police that they didn't see him doing anything. They didn't get no calls for a crime. They didn't know he was breaking into anything. They just chased him the fuck down. That's their testimony.
So check this out.
Not mine, not Shakim. That's their testimony.
I'll give you all of that. What I'm talking about is this.
You just said was he jogging? It doesn't matter if he was jogging or crawling.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. You're right. What matters to me is you grab another man's weapon.
Oh man.
Wait, see you say no, man, because you did it.
No,
before.
I said
in your mind, you're like, well, shoot, I feel him, bro. You did the right thing. He dead. He's dead.
So what are you saying? Like, okay, so if some white man chase you down, black man, let's say black man, because you don't like dealing with. Let's say some black dude chase you down.
Thank you.
All right. I know. Thank you. You know, you got to save face.
No,
anyway, let's say some black man chase you down. All right. What are you gonna do?
This right here.
That's what you're gonna do? Okay. And you said you from where? That's what y'all do?
Memphis 10. You know why?
So you're gonna put your hands up from some people that you don't know that's chasing you. I would have been dead a long time ago if I did what you did. In my hood.
Hey,
I've been dead.
Yeah, guess what? That's the issue. You up here in your own world. See, you didn't slap somebody's gun. You didn't shoot me.
No, it ain't no tough talk. I'm not tough talking you.
I'm saying, you guess what?
You doing the theatrics of shooting. I didn't do none of that.
Guess where I got that from? Guess where I got that from? Snoop Dogg on what's the name of that movie?
But you putting music,
shoot me.
You put music in movies with reality though.
Anyway, so my point is this: if somebody chasing me with a gun, I ain't done nothing. Whoa, hey, whoa, what's going on? Hey, now, I don't want no trouble. Whatever you think you at, I ain't got it. Whoever, I don't know you. Hey, what's the problem? Guess what? I'm going home.
Still, at the end of the day, we're still not looking at the violation. The violation is what. See, like I said, what we're doing is we're still trying to rationalize and justify wrong behavior. So we're putting more. Okay. So hold on. Let me.
I didn't get to address. it. You said it already. See, Kim, you can't address the issue because now we talking about a murder. Now we talking about a death. And so if Ahmaud, like, hey, well, I'm putting his hands up, man. I ain't done nothing. What y'all doing? Guess what? Then we can address the McMichaels and what they did, what they were chasing him. Now this man is gone. His mama's crying. Everybody, he's dead now. So now we got a death going on. You can't beat people with guns. It just put your hands up and fight.
I think he was fleeing to be.
He was not fleeing. The truck was in front of him.
Well, it's funny that they arrested. They got arrested and he wasn't fleeing. So y'all can go ahead and keep that narrative. Whatever keeps you up at night or keep you sleep at night, that's fine. They got arrested and they're telling on each other. And they're telling on each other.
Listen,
and they're telling on each other.
That's fine. That's great.
So
I don't,
what are we
see,
talking about?
I'm not on the McMichael side. I'm not on
No,
Ahmad.
it ain't. I'm not even saying that you're on the McMichael side. What I'm saying is
I don't even know these
thing
people.
is sketchy.
It don't move me. Not either way it goes.
It like I said, that's the problem. So you know,
it's not. What moves me is what my family. I'm not moved by that dude.
And that's fine, but you still deal with a book that says love thy neighbor. I don't see any love from you.
Love thy neighbor. Listen, dude, that's dealing with
what? Listen, what? I don't see that from you.
How in the world can I get emotional about somebody I don't know?
It ain't about being emotional. It's being rational about what's going. It's not an emotional conversation. We're having a rational conversation about facts. You're saying that you would have gave up and surrendered.
Yeah,
that's fine. Other people don't surrender. They fight back.
And they die.
I'm still alive.
You're lucky. You're lucky. You're lucky.
By your book that you believe in, you're supposed to fight back. I've never seen it. Only person you're supposed to surrender to is who? You surrendering to who? Fear no man but what?
Putting my hands up doesn't mean
we gonna deal with the book, or we gonna
putting my hands up doesn't mean I fear.
You're in fear. You surrendered. That's a surrender.
Yes, to a gun.
To that person.
To a gun. If he had no gun, my hand's not going up. Are you serious? Well, what am I doing this for? He has a pistol. Okay.
So what are you fearing?
I'm surrendering to the pistol in his hand.
To the person that got the pistol, right?
No pistol, no hands up.
To the person that got the pistol, correct?
No pistol, no hands. Got the pistol, my hands. Got me?
That sounds nice, but
it's the well. Listen, bro.
That's fear.
Listen, let me tell you something. I grew up different than you did. Okay, we grew up different people, man. All right. I was taught as a little boy. I'm glad I was taught like this because I would be dead. When you see a fight, you go the other way. That's where I'm from. When there's a fight, bullets are coming that way towards you. That's where I'm from.
Correct.
So you go see if it's somebody, pop. Okay, about 3 minutes later, it's finna get sprayed. That's where I'm from. So I would go the other way. I don't care who fight. I'll find out tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Who got shot? I'll find out. Who beat up somebody? Somebody tell me. I'm not going to see.
I was raised the same way. So
when I see a gun, yeah. See. Guess what?
So you wouldn't.
I'm not a rebellious. I'm not a rebellious fool.
I came back to say I wanted to leave this video without, as far as being disrespectful to my elder. That's what I came back for. I didn't come back for the grand finale of I got you and all this other stuff. I came as a black man to say, hey, you're my elder, respects to you, but we need to have these dialogues where we can change. Once you're a certain age, my dad say old dogs don't learn new tricks. Maybe you can learn a new trick. Things have changed from when you grew up till now. Society has changed. The world has changed.
No,
so it's like a computer with a floppy disk.
It hasn't changed.
Some people walk around with a floppy disk and they haven't updated their technology or their mind frame.
Under the sun. Nothing new under the sun, man. Nothing has changed. The same thing.
Like an old dog don't learn new tricks.
No, first of all, I'm not
anyway, like I said, I would hate if you didn't protect your family because I came in your house with a gun. I would fight anybody.
I would fight it.
You can. That's.
Now, if I got that yolk on me, if I got that yolk on me, then we may.
It shouldn't matter. Like I said, whenever you got to protect your family, you protect your family by any means necessary.
No. Be smart. Be wise.
Well, okay, but see, so what I'm saying is, Willie, taking your in consideration, I still say we're not holding the McMichaels to the same standard that we're holding Ahmaud Arbery to. And like I said, it got to be responsibility equally applied. I think that's what we have to start looking at. We're making
the courts. Hey, check it out. The courts are holding them responsible, not me.
Okay. So this is the thing, right? You're holding him accountable because you're scrutinizing his actions, which we don't have a problem with that. You're scrutinizing his actions, and what you're doing, you're scrutinizing his actions in the route that he took in order to save his life, or what he thought would save his life while he was panicking in distress. So you're taking that and you're making it out to seem as though he's an idiot, he's stupid, So this is the thing. He's in panic mode. But like I said, nobody's looking at, and this is the problem that we're having with people like Owens, who actually created this talking that he was grabbing somebody's gun. Nobody started saying that until Candace Owens made that up out of thin air and said he tried to attack a guy with a gun.
Man, I saw that when I first saw the video.
No.
I saw that.
Okay, but Candace already put that in the atmosphere. But
no. Candace is not God. Listen, man. I saw the video myself, and the first thing I said was, "What the? This is me. I don't know anything." I saw him going towards the. I was like,
"So you seen that? You seen that video, and that's what you seen?"
The first thing
I'm going after this. Like I said, respect to you. Like respect to you, black man. That's what you when you first seen that video, you said, "Oh my God, he ran for his gun." That's what you.
That's how he died. That's how he died.
Yikes! All right, bro. Like I said, I came honestly to come back to say, peace to the two. Like I said, we got 3 black men. We had a sister on here. We need this type of dialogue. I think it's healthy as far as if it comes. We didn't get the name calling. We didn't do all that other stuff. Right. I'm happy about that. Like I said, one thing I do respect is my elders. So hopefully one day we can have another talk. If not, that's fine too. But I wish you well, Shakim. Thank you for.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And I would like to keep Willie in the circle to have a lot of these discussions. Like I said, I respect Willie, man. Me and Willie have hung out in person. We was in Florida, Blexit. We was at the little rally in Florida in Fort Lauderdale. So I respect Willie. You know what I'm saying? And I would love to have him as a person who brings another perspective to the table, because we're not a monolith. And like I said, there's not like when we can agree respectfully. Like I said, I disagree with some of the things Willie said. He disagree with me, but I don't ever think we should resort to name calling and all of that. So I'm glad to be that we were able to have this discussions, and I hope future discussions can come out of this. And I think it can only keep us, going forward. And like I said, I totally agree with your sense of family and fatherhood.
Yeah, family is number. Yeah. Family, like I said, I didn't. The only thing that I disputed was the statistics. Hold on, and I'm gonna be honest. Every last one of us, you said that you deal with the schools, you deal with students. I never once discredit that. I do the same thing. Shakim does the same thing. So all 3 of us are in the community as far as black men being active with kids, that's students, high school, middle school, elementary. I don't deal with elementary. So middle school, intermediate.
Hey, you need to start. Hey, that's
what like I said, as far as when they're that young, I deal with the kids that's about to gangbang and enter that's my specialty. Like with the other kids, I can't really do nothing. It's other people that got that lane. My lane is more.
Man, I didn't go from 3-year-olds to 18. Man, dude.
And like I said, respect. I respect to you with that. Like I said, all 3 of us are men that's involved. I never had a problem saying yes. We need more families involved. The statistics is what I see that's kind of inflated. Most of my people, my family, they deal with the school system. I got a brother that he's a school director, for all the whole goddamn county. My sister's the counselor, so it's like we deal with the school system, but I just didn't agree with the numbers because I'm like, nobody that we know got polled for it. And like I said, I think that's a fair, that was a fair analysis that I gave, that I don't know anybody that was polled for it. You don't know anybody that was polled for it.
I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody polled for the STD stat I gave you either, but that doesn't mean it's
Well,
fake.
I know that people got to get treated, so that's why I looked at a disease.
And I know
compared
I know that when there's a suicide, they look at the family and see where's the father. So these stats are not just thrown out the blue.
Well, you would have to bring up the fact that suicide rates, that would be a whole nother discussion. Like that's a whole nother, as far as suicide rates, whatever the percentage is, come from kids that doesn't have a family and have a dad in the family.
Suicide.
I'm just telling you, I'm hella involved, and I was like, I see some. You can say that it's shitty parenting, but as far as that statistic that you got a percentage of something and nobody knows, like if they didn't poll me, it's flawed. If they didn't poll you,
well, you
it's
in trouble.
flawed. Like
it's flawed. It ain't poll you. It's flawed.
You just said you don't know anybody that got polled by it, bro. It's sometimes just say it might be flawed. Like even with the Trump stats, the polling, that shit is fake. Did they call you and poll you? Did CNN ever call you and poll you? No. But they'll tell you that Trump is behind 11 points, and you be like, well, shit, they didn't poll me, it ain't right. But I guess I can't say they didn't poll me. So how do they have these points?
Well, cool, man. Hey, listen. Hey, all I know is this, and it's sad to say it, but 72% of all black babies are born to single moms. Then you get on the flip side, 1,862 black babies are aborted every day in America. And
now, like I said, with that, you're dealing with something that's documented. That's a documentation.
I know
documentation versus a poll are two different things.
Everything I gave was documented, man.
How was it documented if we'd never been polled, sir?
Hey, did you ever pay for it?
It's fine. I just wanted to say I agree. Thank you for helping out our students. Thank you for helping out our black students, white students, whatever you help. Thank you. I said I had a problem with the percentage because I know that is not accurate. That's basically what I was saying. Do we need accountability as far as men and the families? Yes.
Are you in the school? What grade you teach?
I don't teach nothing.
What do you do with youth?
I deal with kids that's in gang activity as far as council resolution.
This is what I want you to do. So you get you a poll. I want you to get you a poll. This is what I want you to do. If you're really working with gangsters, this is what I want you to do. For real. How many you got right now? How many you got? Like 10, 5? How many?
As far as middle school, it's about 23, and then high school is a bunch of them.
This is what I want you to do. I want you to take a random 10 of your boys who are about to be in gangs, and I want you to ask them this question.
I didn't already did it, sir.
Watch
if we talking about, I know some of their fathers. I grew up with some of their fathers.
Yeah. And they okay. Watch this. This is what you ask them.
Okay.
Hey, where's your father? First question. All right. First question I want you to ask. I've been asking that question for 20 years. These are the responses I get. Man, I don't know.
That's not all. That's not. I know a lot. Like I said, I can't call you. I can't call you a liar on your part. I can't do it. On my part, it's some fathers that's missing, and there's some fathers that's busting their ass.
So check it out.
And the kids are just rebellious. You have rebellious kids. That doesn't have nothing to do with the parenting.
Listen. Yes, it does. Number one, where's your father? Number two, this is what you ask them. Is your mother and father married?
I had great parents, father, mother, great parents.
Uh-huh.
I chose to go sell drugs. I chose to go gangbang.
Where are you now?
So I'm sitting there looking at you in your face right now, telling you it has nothing to do with parents.
What are you doing?
Have the most excellent parents.
What are you doing today?
I changed my ways.
You know why?
I changed my ways.
Did you surrender to the Lord Jesus Christ?
No, I surrendered to seeing that, we were actually being attacked in our black community.
Oh, okay. So you went that route. So watch this. Something your daddy told you resonated.
My dad, like I said, they didn't deal with religion.
Okay. Religion. I don't deal with religion. Jesus Christ is not a
Okay,
religion.
well they didn't deal with Jesus or Christ or God or
But
the Holy
something your
Spirit.
daddy told you resonated with you as you have something has changed with you. Something your dad taught you as a little boy.
It was actually my mom was the pro-black. That's where I got that from. So I got it from my mom.
Your dad taught you nothing.
Yeah, my dad taught me a lot of stuff, but not what I'm doing now.
Did he teach you
He
to
taught
be?
he taught me survival. He wouldn't tell me to put my hands up.
Okay.
But you see how that worked. My dad taught me not to always fight back. I'm still here.
You know
So
what?
it's different flows for different folks.
Yeah, guess what? My dad taught me. Don't fight. You ain't gotta fight. Don't fight. Walk away.
Like I said, I respect you, brother, but I just don't agree with the percentage. That's basically
You don't
what,
have to
you know, and
agree.
I believe it's fair.
Your
I
disagreement,
believe
your disagreement does not mean false. Your disagreement
it's
doesn't mean that.
it's not even like I can be an asshole and tell you it's not even a disagreement. It's facts. If they didn't poll anybody in your family, out of your whole family, your mom's side, your dad's side, you don't know nobody that got polled. My mom's side, my dad's side, I don't know anybody got polled. Shakim, your mom's side, your dad's side, don't know not one soul that got polled.
85%
How do you come up with a
of
number?
all youth come from fatherless homes. Do you know they go to a system, they find out all the information about these people? Does you understand that? They ain't got to poll you to get that information?
What system? Hold on, time out. Let's because I was gonna leave, but what system?
You could have been gone.
No, what I'm saying is I got kids. Don't nobody know if I'm with the mom or the dad. There's no system that can be like, yeah, he out of the household. What system do they got that know that you not messing, you not taking care of home, or you not messing with your baby mama, or you and your baby mama back together? There ain't no system for that, bruh. It's not. Let's just say it's flawed. We need to do better as black men, as far as a collective, to be in our child's life. Correct. I agree with you.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that? What are you basing that off of?
Because family is first. That I put family
first. Who told
first.
you that? Who told you that?
That's just something that you see. You wake up, you see
what
it.
What poll did you get that from?
I didn't say that it was facts. I said I see it. Something that I see that resonate with me is family is first. Family is a unit.
That's your opinion.
That's correct. I have no problem. I have no problem saying that. You have the problem with admitting.
It's called sarcasm. The family is the number one issue in America right now. The father is home. And if you don't understand that, more power to you. Them boys you're working with, they are fatherless. They are fatherless.
They're not, but you know,
their dads are not engaged. Their dads are not there.
I'll let you tell everything. You're right about everything, sir.
Oh no, I'm not right about everything. But this one thing, you can't tell me nothing about fatherhood. Nothing. All right. So for the last 20 years, I done it. So
okay, let's say this
about fatherhood. Nothing.
Let's just say this. I told you that I believe that.
Matter of fact, I got a book about it. I got a book.
That's right. It's people that got books about everything. It's people that said Russia hacked the elections.
Yeah.
It's fathering
and black boys and white boys and fatherless boys.
I'm telling you,
I just think too much, man. I just think
writing a book doesn't mean anything. It's people that sold the bestseller of saying Russia hacked the United States election. They probably say the same thing you saying. I wrote a book about it, and I'm like, nah, Russia didn't hack the election. Well, I wrote a book about it. Come on, man. Like I said, we need to work on that. But that percentage is wrong.
All right, so hey, Shaka, man, listen, man. Check this out. I'm gonna let y'all go, but I just want to say this: the system is at the house, and until that system is fixed, man,
What broke up the system?
All these other systems are gonna
what broke up that system?
Of the first fornication.
What broke up that system?
Fornication and divorce.
So I want you to answer my question for you, Go, because I think that question was just kind of, I brought it out there, but I don't think it was addressed. So what system needs to be repaired with the officer Chauvin, whatever his name is? Like what needs to be fixed with him? Because if we're looking at George Floyd and we're saying he's the product of a broken system that allowed him to quote unquote resist arrest, what type of system allowed whatever shade of the officer to be so desensitized that he could take another man's life knowing that he was on video? What system needs to be fixed in his life?
He needs to repent and surrender to the
No,
Lord.
no. That's not the question. You so
I want to hear that.
but you know, because
I told you when I got in here, a lot of people use that to deflect, and I didn't even hear you talk yet. I'm just saying, I didn't even hear you talk yet. I had already said a lot of people use religion to deflect from answering questions. It had nothing to do with you directly. It just a lot of people use that.
Right. Like, see, again, see, we just spoke eloquently and we articulated with ease and fashion how George Floyd came from a fatherless home and drugs, and we broke that down very scholarly. But then whenever I say, well, let's look at the murderer and let's analyze the system that he came up in, the question was, hey man, with God, I hope he repent. I hope he repent. No, we ain't talking about him repenting. What system? No, because what system was he raised under to give him that mentality that he can barbarically take somebody's life on video and be so desensitized to engage in such an act like that? What system?
I said earlier, he and George Floyd knew each other. There was beef between those two people.
Okay, but keep in mind they did say that the guy retracted that. So I don't know. That was earlier today. Yeah. So we'll go back and look. But still,
they knew each other. They knew each other.
Okay. So why did?
Hold on. The guy that said. Now hold on, man. See, this is funny.
That's what it said. We got to go back. I thought I saw that. But let me. Yeah. So let me just say this, right? Let me just say this. We didn't, whenever George Floyd was brought up, we didn't articulate that, hey man, these guys were in a beef and they knew each other. We started talking about black fatherlessness, absenteeism, and a broken family. That never was articulated on behalf of George Floyd and said, hey man, this guy had a vendetta against George Floyd and he killed him not because of police practices or police abuse of power. He killed George Floyd due to a previous beef.
Because you have to, it's called an investigation. You can't find that information out off the first video you see. The video you see is not it's not the end of it. That's not you don't go to jail based off of video. You have to take the video, eyewitnesses, evidence, toxicology, all those things have to be done in order to make a final decision. So that's my point. That's why I don't jump to the gun when I see a black man get killed by a white man. As a matter of fact, I'm the exact opposite, because I know even the reason I see that on the screen is because they want an emotional reaction. So I don't get it. That's why and that's what pisses me off. Last year, only 9 unarmed men got shot by the police, and so how are we gonna make another, like one more, but in our own backyard? Like, I can't deal with somebody else's mess until I sweep up in front of my own, because the Bible calls me a hypocrite if I do that. If I look at you and say, man, you ain't doing this to your kids, man, and I'm not taking care of mine, I'm a hypocrite. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and talk about what somebody else is doing when my own house is going. I can't do that. That's a hypocrite. So
let me ask you. So let me ask you this. So we should ignore certain injustices because of something that is going on. So there are certain injustices that deserve to be ignored because of another injustice that we feel is more imminent.
No. No. You said injustice. No, you don't ignore injustice. No, but you don't fake outrage. Oh, when somebody, just because somebody, do you realize how much white supremacy that is? Do you realize how badly triggered black people are messed up? We get upset because somebody white killed somebody black, but we don't give a rat's you know what if somebody black did the same thing. Do you realize if Chauvin was a black man, you would know about it?
No. Okay. So no, let me ask you this. I don't believe that, because
you don't believe that.
And let me tell you why. Black people have set up crime watches. Black people set up a lot of police community, a lot of police patrols. They patrol their own community. Black people are legitimately, and being in Memphis, you know that, because I know that there have been citizen patrols in Memphis. I know that, and even where you at, in Memphis, I know that there are blacks who have organizations that are dedicated to solving gang violence, a lot of that in Memphis. But they can probably tell you, and you've worked 9 times out of 10, you've probably worked with a lot of nonprofit organizations who've done that, and they don't have the media coverage or the reach. The media doesn't cover a lot of them. They are unsung heroes in our community. And if you just kind of look at it, the unsung heroes, they don't get that media attention. So people are automatically just going to come to the conclusion that nobody cares about crime in our community because they don't get that spotlight. They don't have a Larry Elder. And just think about this. We don't even need the media to shine a light on what they do that's productive. If we had people with 7, 8, 9 million followers on Twitter, they could highlight these particular organizations that are doing something. Even, let's say Candace Owens, she loves to talk about black on black crime in Chicago. What if she sat down and highlighted some of the organizations that are doing work in Chicago? What if Tatum did that? What if Larry Elder said, hey, you know what? These fatherlessness statistics are real. So let me highlight on my show an organization that's doing something in the community. We have a lot of nonprofit organizations that are crying for help. They need funding. They would love to be highlighted. And I think what we're lacking is are utilizing our platform in a way that is going to be conducive to helping spotlight these people that are in our communities working. And I think that's what needs to be done. And but I'm gonna sign off. Yo, Willie, I appreciate this, brother. Man, I think we need to definitely have more talks, man. I appreciate you. Like I said, man, I got a lot of love for you. And man, I think this is good, man. Most definitely.
Yeah. Well, listen, brother. I just want to say, the systemic part. There are systems, and we have an enemy, and he is the devil, and he's prowling around, and he's winning. He's not going to win, but he's winning, and he's using people for his own agenda. And I would love one day if we could all fight the one enemy that's really got a hole and a chokehold on America and this whole world. And so until that day comes, like, my skin folk ain't always my kinfolk, And so I love people. I love you. I thank you for having me on, man. And just be encouraged. We can do it again, man. We do it again. But I'm signing out too, man. Hey, God bless you.
Man, you take care, man. Appreciate you, family.
Bro. All right, man.